All right. I think we're live. Let me just make sure we're live. Uh,
Uh,
were you able to set up for your channel to go live also?
yeah,
You were?
yeah, I was able to.
Okay, because I'm trying to find your channel right now. I see mine. I'm trying to find yours.
I'm currently playing chess, dog.
You're what?
I'm playing chess.
Really?
Yeah.
Somebody said how.
Um, on my
Let's-
phone.
Oh, you are playing chess. Well, I'm trying to
Yeah.
see if your channel is live, but let me
I'm
see.
not. I'm not really sure either.
Let me make sure you're on there now. Everybody, I know my channel's live right now. I know you guys could hear me, and this is the first time we're doing this where we could use two channels, mine's and his. His channel is the name that's on there on his banner. That's the name of his channel, so you could
Yeah,
check
we
that one out. Okay, I see some Asian girl. She popped out.
Asian.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
no, my bad. That's you. Hey. All right, cool.
Asian. What?
I
What
see
the
your
fuck?
live.
What does that mean, dog? No,
I don't know. I don't know. Okay,
no.
well, all right, we're here, man. We're finally doing this.
Oh, I
Yeah.
know.
You
I
see.
think we've been talking about doing this
Oh yeah, we have
for
been talking about it for a while, man. And
for a while.
I'm glad we're on it. I'm glad we're here. I'm glad we're chatting it up. I want to see if I could see the live chat. I don't. Again, I'm not too familiar with how to use this program.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah,
there's the
yeah. I see.
comments. I see it
I see
now.
the. Yeah, I
All
see
right,
the
shout out to
Tokyo no
Statics,
dog.
Michael Ojeda, Iron Hombre, Ernesto, Mrs. Chicano Tube, Bob. What's up, everybody? Can you see your?
Yeah, I see it. I see statics. That's
Okay.
a homie right there for me. Because
Oh,
he been rocking with me for a long time. You know,
yeah. Oh,
like
that's what's up, man.
I acknowledge like people that I just consistently see them on my social medias.
Mm,
And
yeah,
statics is one of those fools.
that's what's up, man. I honestly, it's hard for me to keep up with everybody that like messages me and follows me. I'm not
Yeah,
saying I'm getting a lot of messages, but I'm just saying I
yeah,
get
yeah,
enough
yeah.
for me to be like, oh fuck, I don't know who to say hi to go to. What's up, Ghetto Vallero SGV? I see you jumped on. Jesse Miranda. Oh, Jesse Miranda. I think that's from your page.
Taui. Hey, yeah, Taui is it's a interjunction.
Yeah,
It's one of those words where you know how like hey, or how we
yeah.
say it in English, hey, and
Hey,
it's not really like it's not necessarily a hello. It's
yeah.
more like you're calling out for somebody, like
Like hey,
hey,
Tawi. Like
Taui, yeah, Taui,
Tawi.
yeah. That one's an interjunction, so you can say it without like having to be like nimits, da 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 da.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just Taui, Taui.
Tawi. All right, that's what's up. Now, some of you might not know from my channel who he is, Kiao. If you could tell the people on my channel who you are, so they could get to know you.
Well, I don't really consider myself like high up there, you know what I mean? I don't allow it to get to my head. I just am a normal indígena person from Mexico.
Yeah,
Well, my raíces son de allá.
yeah.
I was born and raised here in Santa Barbara, California. But when I was born, my parents like right away took me to where we're from.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, nice.
they were showing me off to my uncles at the time, like if I was like some damn Simba or some shit, you know.
Wait. What? What do you mean?
Yeah, when I was born, like 3 months later, they took my ass to Mexico,
Oh shit. Okay.
and
They're
at
like
the time,
the chosen one.
yeah, kind of
Yeah, yeah.
kind of like that. For whatever reason, my grandparents, my dad's grandparents, like me estimaban un chingo. They loved me. But I guess
Yeah.
because I came out looking like my grandfather, skin complexion and all that,
Yeah.
and yeah, I don't know. It's just something that just occurred in my life. I remember a few things, being out there,
Yeah.
and yeah, so I was going back and forth for to my just before my adolescence.
Yeah.
I hit teens and stuff, and that was the last time I was over there. And in all honesty, bro, like a lot of my family members came over here.
Yeah.
Well, my pueblo is kind of like a little ghost pueblo. There's not a lot of
I
families there.
I can relate to that. I can relate to that. I wanna say most of my relatives, as far as cousins, aunts and uncles, they're all here. All of them made it. I mean, the only ones that are blood related to me that are, my parents' pueblos are
Hmm.
my grandparents and a handful of aunts and uncles, but that's it. Like a handful, like, I could count it with my fingers.
Yeah, yeah, it's how it is for me. I only got uh probably like 3 or 4 uncles on my dad's side. On my mom's side, is probably just 2.
Yeah?
Yeah, yeah. So everybody's up here, either in California or Chicago. You know. Uh,
Chicago, huh?
yeah, I was a little bit upset on that when my younger cousin, like my cousins, started to go out there. I was like, "What the? You're separating the familia, like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
like how to like you guys are all doing your own thing. That's cool, but I mean,
Yeah,
like we can't do shit together. We can't do no family gatherings as
yeah,
easily or whatever. So
yeah.
I wasn't a fan of that, but it is what it is.
I get it. I think I kind of felt like that when some of my family went to Las Vegas to move
Mm.
over there. Like
The
after the Northridge earthquake, they moved over there to Vegas.
Yo, like ya valió madre, ya.
Yeah, like nah, hell no, fuck that earthquake. We're not staying here.
I know. That shit's funny.
Hey, we
What?
actually had one in Malibu too this morning. It was like
Also,
a 4.7.
nah, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, man.
Some
Yeah,
somebody asked, would you go back to visit if given the opportunity? I wanna live over there. I wanna live and die over there in Cayohualco.
yeah,
Uh, so even though I wasn't birthed there, like it has a beautiful, like, special spot in my heart.
yeah. Well, what
Uh,
state is that in?
in Guerrero,
Guerrero. All right.
la zona norte de Guerrero. We're probably like an hour away from Cuernavaca, Morelos, and 2 hours away from Mexico City.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No, no,
yeah.
I feel that, man. The more years I spend in this city, which is LA,
Hmm.
the more I'm like, fuck, maybe like half of my rest of my life I want to spend it over there.
Yeah, for me, I live in the countryside of what Mexico is.
Yeah.
So se siente libre uno allá. Everybody feels free. It's not like how it is living
That's
in a
cool.
in a city.
Yeah.
Uh, there's some perks and cons to it, especially
Yeah.
nowadays with like cartel violence and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're on the countryside for sure. If you're more in the city, there you don't really see them very much.
Okay, that's cool. I mean, well, not the cartel part, but I mean, for me, nah, where my family is from, it's scary as fuck.
Yeah,
It's in the mountains. We're like
yeah.
way up there. Like it takes like 5 hours to drive up north to
Hmm.
get to their pueblo. And when you're there, it's like all big. It's just a big forest, animals everywhere, shit
Hmm.
moving around. Scary as fuck.
Hell yeah! I just recently seen graphic photos of people of my pueblo, fool. Like people
Yeah.
you know that got dealt with and shit. Not that
Oh
they were
wow.
innocent. Not that they were innocent people.
Ah,
They were obviously involucrado
yeah,
en estas pendejadas. But
yeah,
it's just there's poverty in my pueblo, bro. Like there's some places, some
yeah,
houses don't even have like running water,
yeah,
and it's stuff that we take for granted living here in the
yeah,
United States.
yeah.
So
That's
sometimes
true.
people feel the need to do a little something to be able to get extra feria or whatever
Yeah.
out there. And unfortunately, yeah, I seen that shit, bro. That shit got me very upset. I was just like, damn, like I low key type shit. I kind of want to go over there,
Just to change
and
it.
I want to don't want to get too crazy, but I do want to, yeah, to change it. I want to,
Yeah, yeah. I'll tell you this
Yeah,
much, man. From what I've learned dealing with the pueblos and the people of the pueblo, they don't like us. They don't like us coming over there telling them what to do. I I
uh,
I, I realize that.
nah, but see,
At least my
you know,
where my family's from, yeah, they do not like us going over there telling them how to change things up.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, of course, there's people. There's always going to be people that they're used to what they're used to.
Mhm.
And their comfort. What they rather stay with what they know than try to
Yeah.
change. Then everybody fears change, bro. You
You
know.
know, the trip in my parents' pueblo. You have to mandatory do community service if you want to stay in the pueblo. If you
Yeah,
don't do any of the services, any hours, you or pay, you don't have a say.
yeah, yeah. In our pueblo is not like that, bro. It's really. I would like to think that years before it was like united.
Yeah,
But over time, having access to certain things just
yeah,
kind of changed the mentality of our pueblo, and everybody's on their own over there. Like there's
yeah,
no comunidad. Like, yeah, we're from the same pueblo y toda la cosa and everything, but
yeah.
it's just it's not the same anymore. Um, People are having starting to get access to Wi-Fi over there.
Really?
And yeah, like my pueblo has Wi-Fi, but it's shitty Wi-Fi, fool.
Yeah.
And then not only that,
What shitty Wi-Fi?
I
Explain to.
mean, dial up shit, I don't know if you remember that shit, North.
Yeah, that ding, 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 ding. Yeah, like that? Fuck. I mean,
Like that bad,
wa
nah. Maybe a little
really?
bit better, but like that type of quality. But not only that, fool, you know, the organizations that's out there,
Yeah,
breaking down towers,
yeah,
have a disconnection to the rest of the world, so to say.
yeah.
Shit like that occurs, bro, over there, dog. And even sometimes they even take away the phone line.
Really?
Like, yeah, cell phone towers and shit like that, they take that shit away, bro. So Pueblios won't be able to like, communicate with their family members from over here or however way.
What?
Y'all
Really?
never had that shit happen to y'all?
Nah, man. I think we got a they
Some
got a cell
pinche
phone antenna maybe like 20 years ago. Maybe they got a
un
cell phone antenna.
desmadre where I'm from, bro. That shit's
Well, you know the trippy part about my the area of where the pueblo my parents are? The trippy
mhm,
part is that there is a pueblo called Villa Alta.
mhm,
It's like the furthest northern pueblo in la sierra.
mhm,
Crazy part is that this pueblo is inhabited has been inhabited for the last, I want to say, like maybe like 400 years. No, wait. When did the Spanish come? For sure, at least 200 years it has been inhabited by Spanish people.
mhm.
I don't know
Yeah, well,
why they went
spe
up there to set up shop, but
yeah, I mean, the Spanish people have always been around, bro. In Mexico, they never left. Like the people that are descendants of Spanish people, they
yeah,
stayed in Mexico. They die
yeah,
in Mexico.
yeah.
And
But until, like I said, like 200 years, and it takes 5 hours in car to get up there.
yeah, yeah,
These people have been there before there were cars. They
yeah,
just settled in the pueblo or up there, made it their
mhm,
own, and just stayed there. They never spread out to any of the other pueblos. They just stayed up there,
yeah,
watching us.
yeah. That's crazy. Yeah.
It is, man.
What what I like about Oaxaca. My brother, I'm changing the story on you a little
Go
bit,
for it.
but
Yeah.
de la Guetza.
Like it says, yeah, those are great. Those are good. I always enjoy those the ones when they do it over there. And I want to say the capital.
Mhm.
They come together a lot of pueblos. I like that one. I don't like the one that's here in LA.
Oh, I didn't even know there was one here.
There is one. There's actually a restaurant called Guelaguetza. It's pretty popular.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it like it's just not that one, mostly because I remember my dad's because a lot of the pueblos where my parents are from, like all the
Mhm.
pueblos have this thing called an organization where they all
Yeah.
collect money so they can send it back to the pueblo. They'll do parties here so they collect money, send it back to the pueblo.
Yeah,
Anyways,
yeah.
they organize with that restaurant, like Guelaguetza. And they're the ones that all the pueblos that are from La Sierra help that restaurant create that festival or that event that they also
Mhm.
named Guelaguetza. So after like two events, none of the pueblos got any money, none of the bands, everybody that went in there. Uh, and Guelaguetza did charge people to get in.
Mhm.
The thing was that after two events, all the pueblos noticed, hey, these guys are getting a good amount of money. Like there's a
Yeah.
lot of people coming in and buying shit and buying tickets. So the pueblos talked amongst each other and and actually confronted the owner of the restaurant, which was the dad. Told him,
Mhm.
hey, since we're the bands are coming here, voluntarily. We want to ask for some, donations for the pueblos, since you're
Yeah.
collecting money and everybody here is putting in work and everybody's getting their pueblos to come to your event.
Yeah, yeah.
And the dad said, no, we're not giving you guys any money.
The
And
refusal?
they refused to give money. And mind you, they're asking for donations. And
Yeah.
after that, a lot of the pueblos backed off from Guelaguetza. A lot of them actually boycotted it and not to go
Wa
there anymore.
the one in LA, right?
The one in LA. Because
Okay, okay.
the dad did not want to actually, donate money from all the money they were making from selling tickets and selling food and other shit. They
Mm.
just kept it for themselves
Yeah,
and used the pueblos and the bandas to just be there to make them money. They literally suckered all these pueblos to fucking work for free and make them money.
yeah. That's crazy that I didn't know about the La Gazza in LA. I thought I've seen some just YouTube videos from Oaxaca. That shit's
Yeah.
badass. Fool, they got a nice ass studio, I mean stadium,
Yeah.
and then like in the background you see a big old montaña or a montaña. It's just very
Yeah.
like está bien chulo, güey. Está bien chingón,
Those are
güey.
the mountains, man. They're scary as fuck though, man. Every time I go there, it scares the fuck out of me.
Why
Shout
is
out
it
to
that big or
Marvelous.
what?
Huh?
They're that big?
Oh yeah, they're massive, bro. I mean, the road to get up there is it's like it's in the shape of a snake, you know? You're just
Mhm. Oh
winding through
yeah.
roads.
Y luego puro tierra. No.
And there's no guardrails. There's no guardrails. So when you look on the side and you're riding in the back of a truck, all you see is the fucking slope.
Yeah, yeah.
But
That's crazy.
it's beautiful though, man. But it's scary as fuck. But you know what? It's crazy because a lot of I always tell people, like, a lot of people there say, es que hay pobreza and it's not livable. But when I go there, bro, I see fruits growing on the trees. I see herbs. I see animals. I see a lot of
Yeah.
shit that's just food. Now, I think for them, because they watch the TV, they watch the movies, they get lost in the world that the European Americans created,
Mhm.
and they think they got to buy all their shit for it to be like good shit.
Yeah.
And there's literally a mango this big growing in a tree, and you don't want to grab it
Yeah, yeah.
in land that literally belongs to nobody. But there's a big mango, there's a tree growing a bunch of mangoes that you don't want to grab one. You rather go to a store, pay for it, and then it makes sense.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. I mean, there's always gonna be people where they would rather live for what the world is today,
Yeah,
wherever whatever that might be in their environment, you know? People will adapt to their environment, try to, you know, assimilate
yeah,
into whatever community or lifestyle they want to be a part of, you know. But as much as there's people like that, there's also people that get to appreciate the smaller things of life, the freedom of what it is to live in the countryside of Mexico.
yeah,
You know, I would imagine it would feel the same here in United States, bro. Like if you live in the countryside of United States, you probably feel that same freedom,
yeah.
uh, or similar freedom that you feel when you're in Mexico. You know, yeah,
Yeah. You know
there
what?
might,
No, I'm sorry. Go
uh
ahead.
huh. No, I was gonna
Uh,
say there might be poverty over there, but you know, like I said, we adapt to our environment and we try to make the best of it. You know,
yeah,
whether it's making music or some shit, you know, try
yeah,
to buscar la manera para disfrutar la vida, you know, just to enjoy
yeah.
life.
Pretty much. I mean, they got rivers, they got waterfalls, they got a whole ass place over there. That for me, I'm like, man, this place is cool. If I want to like, explore a lot,
Yeah.
there's a lot to do up there. But it's funny. I drove up to Chicano Tube. Shout out to Chicano Tube. When I drove up there to Salinas,
Mhm.
yeah. And I was in this area where it was all like rounded mountains, and
Mhm.
everything was yellow. Like it was just covered in yellow. I don't know if it was just
Like
all.
what? Like California flowers?
No, no, no. It was just like the mountains were just yellow and round,
Mhm.
and I tripped
Lomas.
out. I have no idea. I
I
couldn't.
I passed through there years ago when I was in my like 16 years old, something like that.
Yeah,
I was heading up there with my well, not to Salinas. I was going to East Side San Jose,
yeah.
East Sanjo.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, oh yeah, that's a ghetto ass fucking place up there, bro. Uh, like, but I remember passing through Salinas and then
Yeah.
passing by the prison that's out there.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. That's
Yeah,
that's crazy.
yeah, I remember passing through there. Never got inside Salinas, because at the time I was all pelon, cyclone, throwing a barrio.
Dang, you weren't throwing up the tribe, that's for sure.
Era, nah, hell no. Throwing up barrio, like that shit was a trip, bro. Cause I saw some northern individuals out there,
Yeah,
and they never hit me up, or none of me and my brother or my cousin, because it was only three of us, but
yeah.
all three of us were all. You could tell that we were from the South, dog.
Oh. Well,
Yeah,
I'm glad
but
they didn't get at you guys because I think I saw recently a video on Instagram where some guy was telling some dude to like pick up his shirt and
yeah.
then claiming north side or something like that. I was like, whoa. I'm like,
Yeah, I mean,
well,
we didn't go up there to be disrespectful, because I went up to go see a hyena that, a girlfriend of mine
yeah,
at the time, but yeah, we didn't experience, something that we were anticipating to experience, but it never
yeah.
happened,
Oh,
which
that's yeah,
for I mean, it was a good, road trip, you
yeah,
know? S
yeah. Yeah, yeah,
but
well, I haven't been up there. I haven't been that up there. The most I've gone to Salinas. I haven't actually gone to San Jose, which I hear is like that's more of a city, where the other ones are more like towns.
yeah, I only been to, like I said, the east side of San Jose, Sanjo, and it was cool. It was ghetto as fuck, but it was cool.
I didn't know they
Cause
call it Sanjo.
it's cause there were like potholes and shit. And I was like, damn, these fools don't give a fuck about it. But it, just kind of like East LA, there's a gang of Mexicanos out there or whatever, or
Yeah,
Latino, or
yeah,
it's kind of like that. So East San Jose is a lot of Mexicans or Latinos, however.
that's cool, man. You know what is trip? I always thought like that. Have you ever seen that movie La Misión?
I think I have seen it. The one with
Benjamin Pratt.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
He's in
and his
it.
gay
That-
son.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Aside from that part, for some reason, I don't know why I thought that fucking city was in the valley here.
Nah, it's up north.
Yeah, it took me a while. Like, oh shit, they look like that up north too. I was like that. I thought it was like an East LA kind of like place that was in the valley, and then I looked up where the fuck is La Misión? Oh shit, that's all the way up there. Fuck,
Mhm.
they still keep it like that there. They still
Yeah,
have that Mexican style over there.
yeah, I just know that it's in Northern California, but I don't know where exactly, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I want if anybody in the live chat knows where it's at, let us know where exactly it's at. La Misión. That was a good movie though, by the way. I actually
Yeah, it
enjoyed
was
that
cool. It
movie.
was cool.
That was wild.
It kind of shows the machismo of OG
Yeah,
Mexicano, if you want to say,
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. No, I get it. It kind of reminded me a little bit of myself when I was younger.
you were coming out of the closet or what? Fool?
Shut up. No, no,
Este vato.
the part where the dad was dating a black chick. Because when I was a teenager, I was dating a black chick.
Yeah,
I
black
thought that
women.
I thought that was interesting. He was hooking
Black
up with the
women are
black chick.
beautiful, bro.
Black
Black women
women
are
are
beautiful.
beautiful. Definitely.
Yeah,
Shout out to
I,
the black
I
women.
like that celebrity Lupita. Nungonyo or something like that. I
Yeah,
don't know.
she came out in fucking the movie fucking
Black Panther.
for Black Panther with
Yeah.
the yeah, she got an ass on her too.
Hey, hey, tranquilo, homie.
Ooh.
She's my height now. Ese.
Hey,
That-
I like her. She moves. I
yeah,
like her.
she's very beautiful, dog. I
I don't
mean,
think
I think so. For the most part.
yeah. Did you ever see that movie? The one with the Namor?
Yeah, Namor,
Yeah,
Simon.
Namor. Namor,
Yeah,
Namor.
yeah. It's a cool movie. Yeah, I thought it was.
What do you
Thought,
think as far as representation on that one?
I mean, we have to remember that it's a make believe universe. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like this ain't the movie was not based on real life stuff, though it has some like remnants
Similarities? Yeah,
similarities, to real
yeah,
life shit. But for the
yeah,
most part, it's a make believe storyline.
yeah,
But I thought it was cool that they implemented a Yucatec
yeah,
language. Don't know what Yucatec language because there's several, just like how in Nahuatl there's different variants or whatnot.
yeah,
Same goes for the Maya language.
yeah. That's
But
true.
I thought it was crazy because what I found it interesting is that so Namor gave the princess like the bracelet of his mom, which
Yeah,
was like it had like fibers of the plant that gave them that being able to respirar and underwater and all that stuff, right?
yeah, yeah,
And the whole time that at the beginning of the movie, they were just kind of like talking, "Oh, I want to go see my favorite colonizer." Like,
yeah,
"Oh, what would you do if you have all these if they had vibranium, what would you do?" And le dio ese regalo at the princess, and
yeah,
then obviously she took advantage of that
yeah,
to fight the threat, which was like the more
yeah,
uh, Talocan fucking people.
yeah.
That's kind of like the same shit as
Here
white
they did do it
people.
again.
It's like white people doing, you know what I mean? Like it's like
Yeah,
that's white people stuff where it's uh an ethnic group gives you something and then they somehow make it their own and try to
yeah,
monopolize on it.
yeah.
So
That's very true.
yeah, I don't know. It was kind of
Okay, okay. Aside from that one, okay, let's go take it back to another older movie. This one we definitely could have been extras on this one. Apocalypto.
uh I mean that shit is not an accurate representation
Nah,
whatsoever, but it would kind of give you like an idea how things could have been or might have been at that time.
yeah.
To say that it's everything was fact and accurate and hell nah,
No, no, no.
and it
You
was
couldn't
based
say that.
on like you could take culture. It
You
wasn't
know, you
it
know. I'm
wasn't mhm.
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
It wasn't based on like Central Mexico culture,
Yeah,
like the Mexicas or Aztecs. It
yeah.
was based on Mesoamerican Yucatec.
You know what tripped me out about that movie is that in their language, like three or four of the words in that movie were actually words that they use in my tribe's language.
Or Zapotec.
Because yeah, because my parents were watching it and they're like, "What the fuck?" I understood that word.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought that was
That's good.
trippy.
Yeah, no, that's it. I mean, I'm pretty sure, dog. I mean, just hearing something that you're familiar with
Yeah,
on a big screen, I guess I should say,
yeah,
or in the theaters or movies or whatever. I think yeah, it would be trippy.
yeah. The main word that stuck out that was from our language it would be the word "beko."
Becco.
Yeah, and for us that means dog. And
Hmm.
that scene there was a dog there, so that's why they said beko.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't. Since
I tripped out too.
I'm not familiar with that language, bro. Like whatsoever. Like
Yeah. I wish
I
I
can't.
was, man. I wish I was, because that language is a trip. That
Mhm.
language from when I talk to my dad, it requires a lot of, like, tongue angles. Like, your tongue has to be angled a certain way to say a certain word, because if it's not angled like that, it comes off as a different word.
Yeah.
Does that make sense
Yeah.
to you?
Yeah. And I mean, and now it's kind of the same thing, bro. Like they just like possessive suffixes, plural suffixes,
Yeah.
um, directional prefixes, and all
Yeah.
kinds of shit. And also like for here's another example. So Achli, 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 and that
Yeah.
means like big brother, right?
Yeah.
So it's the first vowel is an A, so it's elongated. Achli. And
Mm,
then if I say it fast and short, achli,
yeah.
achli, it means seed.
Oh, yeah, you
So
see? Like that kinda thing. Yeah.
it's spelled out the same. It's just either the first vowel is elongated or short,
Yeah.
which means, achli means older brother, and then achli means seed. That shit's like that shit's a shit.
It is a trip, dude. When I hear it, I'm like, "Oh," because I would say words, and I'm like, "No, they tell me you're not saying it right. You're actually saying this." I'm like, "Really?" But it sounds almost the same.
Yeah,
No, it
yeah,
doesn't.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like they're like, "No, you gotta say it like this," and I gotta repeat it like 10, 20 times before I get it right.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, man. It's yeah. I've been inf- infatuated with the Nahuatl language,
Yeah.
and something that it just kind of happened by default. Well,
Yeah.
really, because I opened my fucking mouth.
Oh, what do you mean?
I like because I was trying to be like informative to those people, in Nahuatl,
Yeah.
and then I
Oh,
started, and then I started to get like balls of fucking haters, dog. Bloody
really?
haters. Yeah, hell yeah. And pues I'm a man of pride
Yeah.
and dignity and all that stuff. I took it as a challenge. I was like, well, then le voy a echar like, las ganas aquí, and then
Yeah.
just keep on getting better and better, just so that I get to a point where I feel, I guess, till the day I feel satisfied enough to be like, f you,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like thank you for fucking criticizing me. Now you made a monstro, so to say.
Yeah. Pretty much. That's good. It pushed you, right?
Hell yeah,
It
yeah.
definitely that's a good thing. I think, reverse psychology does kinda work a lot too on us also.
I mean, I've always kind of been like that though, bro. Like,
Yeah,
when people challenge me, uh, I try to prove them wrong in my best of my ability,
yeah,
and and it all just kind of depends, because I also like don't really have interest for certain things, but whatever.
yeah,
But yeah,
that
it's
makes
just
sense.
how I am. I try to. I'm very competitive.
That's
Uh,
good.
yeah, I don't know. But I like to be authentic and real, so I say a lot of shit
Yeah,
that pisses off people. But
yeah,
I say it because I feel like people don't have the courage or la motivación to talk about hard
yeah,
topics and shit like that. I mean, you've seen some of my stuff, where I'm
yeah,
talking about
yeah,
Chicanismo and Chicano and all that shit,
yeah,
like how I feel about it,
yeah.
and
It's
and a lot of
interesting. I see some of the
uh,
comments you put up that you replied to.
yeah, it's because the way I feel about things, bro, is I feel that we should all try to find our roots, our genuine raíces, and
Yeah,
not assume que todos somos Aztecs, everybody's Aztecs, that
yeah,
just because I'm Mexican, I'm fucking Aztec. That's just fucking stupid.
yeah,
But that
dude.
but the thing that comes from is the propaganda of like 1970s Chicanos,
Yeah,
with their videos and interviews saying like, "Oh, this is my land. This is, I'm indigenous and
yeah,
this and that." Like, okay, you're indigenous, but what? Like, what group do you belong to?
yeah, yeah,
And like trying to find out all that out. And I feel if you find that's your true identity, whatever it might be, like
yeah,
you might be a descendant of straight up colonizers,
yeah.
and it ain't no shame on that.
Nah,
Like, that's who you are. You know
yeah,
what I mean? And but some of us are descendants of indigenas. We're indigenous people, Native Americans, American
definitely.
Indian, however you want to call it.
Yeah,
But most quote unquote Latin American indigenous people, they like to be called indigena.
yeah,
Like I want to say there's more indigenas than there is American Indian.
yeah.
In
Definitely.
just
I agree on
in the
that one.
United States, and yeah, like it's like another thing too. I kind of want to change it up. There's more Afro Latinos than there is African American or blacks from United States.
I'm glad that you're bringing that up too, because I wanted to play you a video and get your thoughts on it.
Hmm.
I want to see. Let me see if I could play it. Hold on. I actually posted this on my Instagram. I don't know if you saw it, but I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I just want to answer this quick comment right here. It
go
says,
for it.
"When will?" All right, so that's how you don't. That's not the way to actually say his name. I know that most people know it as Motexuma, but it's supposed to be Motelk Soma. Motelk Soma.
Motel.
So that's the real way to say it, Motelk Soma, and not Motexuma or whatever.
Ah,
And that's the way the Spanish people named Motelk Soma.
they're really lazy as fuck, man. I think
So,
that's the whole reason why they named
uh,
Aztecs, Mexica Aztecs, right?
well, no, the
Like,
Aztecs. So check it out. So the word Aztec is it's a real thing. You
well,
know,
I but I mean, because I heard that story from that one guy that because they didn't want to call him Mexica because of the spelling, so they wanted to use the word Aslan as a way to name them Aztecs, Aslan, Aztecs.
no, that's a genuine. Well, it's the history of how what is now known as the Mexicas or whatever. Um, it's very mysterious. For the most part, they go through the northwestern part of Mexico to get to what we know as Mexico City.
Mm,
They went through Sinaloa, and then from Sinaloa, what is now known as Sinaloa, they ended up in the Seven Caves.
yeah,
You know, but that Seven Caves could be in Guanajuato or even in Michoacan, even in that region. So in that Seven Caves, that's where the Tlaxcalas and all these other Nahua groups were part of, and
yeah,
then they all ended up leaving at different times. The
yeah,
first group that got to Central Mexico was the Tlaxcala or Tlaxcatecatl people. Uh, but yeah, before then, I've so that word Aztec is you got to think about it like this, bro. So the original Aztec people, so to say, they weren't Nahuatl speaking people.
mm,
They could have been a part of an indigenous group that was a part of the Uro-Aztecan family language tree,
yeah,
but they spoke a different language. So, and then they identified as Chichimeca because they were nomadic at the
yeah,
time. They
yeah,
had to travel. They were traveling down south to Central Mexico. So they revered themselves as Chichimeca, aka Aztec, on their little segment because there are nomadic groups in Mexico. There were nomadic groups in Mexico, I should say,
yeah,
or are like there were. It's modern times.
yeah. I don't think
Uh,
I've seen any other tribe that's wandering or
Nomadic,
yeah,
yeah, but so they identified as a Chichimeca because of that reason because they were being nomadic, they were
yeah,
traveling.
yeah,
But then somehow they got to, what is now known as Toluca
yeah,
region. I think they settled there for a bit, and then they ended up going to what is the Valle right there in Central Ciudad Mexico, what is now known as Ciudad Mexico.
yeah.
And they were getting picked on by the people that were there. So they had like clicked up with I forgot the some indigenous group there, but they were being mistreated. They did some crazy little ritual and they got pushed into this little island where they made Tenochtitlan at.
Yeah.
So
That's not the
yeah,
story about burning the princess of a king, was it?
nah, well, it's kind of like they didn't burn her. They
They
flayed her.
Oh, yeah.
They flayed her,
You
and
wanna describe what that is to the people?
flay is to say they le quitaron su cuero. They took off her skin
Mm,
alive. She
yeah.
wasn't she wasn't deceased when that was
Al
occurring.
Now is that allegedly or that actually happened?
Well, that's how the story goes.
That's how the
Yeah.
story goes.
I wish I could be like, yo, it's for a fact.
That's the
But
part we can't. That's the part
that's
we
how
can't.
that's the story. How that's the story from what I know. I know it as it's more likely that's what occurred.
All right. All right. Well, now you know how to correctly say mo
Motelk,
mote mo
motelk,
mata
motelk,
mo
soma,
motexloma. That's
soma,
it there. Zoma.
so.
So
Yeah, it's like if you're saying so,
so
so.
so oh motexoma.
Uh-huh.
Ah, okay, there you go.
Motelk, soma.
All right. All right. So let me play you this video and I want to know your thoughts on it.
Simo.
So many confused European Americans wondering why I call them European American instead of just American in my other post. For example, this guy is saying, what is a European American? Americans are not from Europe. I literally had hundreds of European Americans wondering why I call them European American. So my question for you guys is, why do you call everybody else something hyphen American? African American, Mexican American, Asian American, Native American. I think it's so funny how they like to subcategorize and label everybody else, but when somebody matches their energy, they get so confused and they completely shut down. You call black people African American because their ancestors are from Africa. You call Asians Asian American because their ancestors are from Asia. You call Mexicans Mexican American because their ancestors are from Mexico. So I'm calling you European American because your ancestors are from Europe. Your ancestors are from Germany, from Poland, from France, from England. The only real Americans are Native Americans, the indigenous people. Indigenous Americans are more American than every single European American put together. But anyways, guys, let me know what you guys think.
Yeah,
All right.
I mean, I agree with them. You know what I
Right?
mean?
Right.
Yeah, I've been knowing. I've been calling white people that American Europeans.
European American?
Yeah,
I'm
I've
thinking
been
I,
saying that. That to me, that phrase or that is not nothing new to me. I feel
I
like that fool,
actually like it.
that fool, that fool picked that up on obviously on the TikTok algorithm.
Yeah.
I don't. I don't want to say I created that shit,
Yeah.
but I was most definitely a part of the one of the first indigenous people saying that shit to white people.
I just picked up on that like a couple of days ago. I'm like, fuck, that makes sense. Why did I never use that? Why did I never just
Yeah,
say Europe?
European
You're European
American,
American.
European American, and it's not even offensive. If they get offended by that shit, then they're just automatically you just assume that they're ignorant.
Yeah. I think that the second you separate them from this land by saying that, they take it offensively.
Why should it? It's not like it's a lie. It's facts,
Exactly. Facts. So
right?
I like it. I'm gonna call the next white person I see, I'm gonna call them European American.
You should. So they know they. I think for the most
When they
part,
say, "Oh, you're Mexican American," yeah, you're European American. I'm gonna laugh my ass off, and they're very like, "What? What do you mean? What do you
yeah.
mean? What do you think I mean? What do you think you came from this land?"
Now, but see, I think it's good to let people for those people that are actually originate from here, from this continent, what is now known as the Americas.
Yeah,
I know it as Semanawak. I
Seminawa.
know, but that's
Give
just my
me
preference.
give us a background on that name if you can.
Also, Sam means like it comes from the number one number, but it's implying completeness. Sem, whenever it's compounded with another word, nawat, noun word. So anawak, what it means is near the water,
Oh,
literally near the water. So it's completely near the water. So I mean, this continent has water on the left side, on the right side of it. It's
yeah,
surrounded by water, so it's always near the water. So,
yeah.
but it could also implement or could also be understood as like a village near a river también. But in this instance, you wouldn't have to say Semanawak for that. You would just say Anawak
Anawak. Anawak.
and Anawak.
Really?
Anawak. Yeah, because it's atl. It comes from the word atl, which means water. And then Nawak, which is like a suffix, it means like near or at or close to. So a nawak. He's near the water, close to the water.
That's a trip, dude. I don't know why I was confusing that word with the word Anunnaki. I don't know why. I don't think
Uh
I'm pretty sure there's no similarity, but
nah.
I don't know why I
I
thought
mean,
about
for me, Norbs, I don't mess around with philosophy that it doesn't belong into the Americas. You
yeah,
know that it's not rooted here.
yeah,
I don't fuck with like Christianity, Buddhism, Israelisms, or none of that shit. To
yeah,
me, those are all. It's all that to me. That's still pushing colonialism, even in
yeah,
modern day times.
yeah,
So I'm more of like against that. Like
yeah,
you want to believe that shit, go for it, believe that shit, but
yeah.
don't be out here like trying to propaganda like, oh, my life has been perfect since I met Jesus. Like,
I no offense to people that do believe in Jesus,
no,
but
no,
I
well,
get you. I get you. I understand you. I
like for
understand.
me,
Yeah,
like I grew up in a Catholic home,
yeah. Same
but
here.
as a little boy, I always like knew something within myself, like this shit ain't right, within myself.
Yeah,
This was my experience, and then I became like a Christian over time.
yeah.
I even got baptized when I was like 22, 23 as a Christian.
Was that your
And
second baptism, or you
yeah,
never
but
did
this
that
was
before?
well, I did my baptism. Well, I got baptized when I was a little baby fool. I
Oh,
didn't know
okay,
about
okay.
that shit, but I
Yeah,
saw pictures of it.
yeah. I
So
think
I
I
know
yeah,
it happened. So I
I
know it happened.
remember mine because I think I was like maybe 8 years old, maybe. I can't remember it.
Yeah, nah, not me. I was baptized level,
Yeah.
but yeah, I got baptized again as a Christian.
So
As
you were
early
so
20s.
you low key born again virgin.
I know about it. But no, what I'm trying to get at, why I'm telling this little story is that
Yeah,
okay, so the reason why I got closer, quote unquote, to Jesus or Christianity is because my life was shitty, right?
yeah,
I was having trouble, struggles like everybody else out in the world.
yeah,
But even when I started to be following like that way of life,
yeah,
my life was still shitty, dog. With or without Jesus, my life has been shitty, and because the reason why it has been shitty is because I'm a actual brown Mexican, dog.
yeah,
I'm targeted um, by government systems. I'm targeted by racial superiority, white supremacy, and all that shit. And not only that, I'm a fucking indigenous, bro. Like
yeah,
I have to deal with my country folk people. Oh, eres un indio, eres prieto, eres this and that. Like
yeah,
I'm not prieto, fool. It's that because you don't want to accept that you're fucking white. You're trying to make yourself trying to make yourself look like you're brown when you're naturally you're not brown. My skin is brown.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
like my skin don't turn like a fucking tomato when I'm outside outside under the sun. You know what I mean? Like I am a brown individual, fool. Like I'm
yeah. Now we don't turn
I'm
red.
very I'm proud of my shit.
Yeah, and
Like
then
I
that's
want.
important, man. That's important that part where you say you're proud of it. There's a lot of unfortunately, there's a lot of brown people that are not proud of it because
Mhm.
they're they've been brainwashed by TV,
Mm,
movies. I mean, in Mexico,
European beauty standards.
yeah, because in Mexico, if you see all the movies from way back, even now, all the rich people, all the powerful people, they're all light-skinned European descendants. All
Mhm.
the workers, the drug dealers, the violent people, they're all us. They're all brown people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right. Even all the Mexican presidents of Mexico have primarily been European descendant people. Yeah, there's been a couple indigenous people or partially indigenous people that were presidents of Mexico. Uh, Guerrero, the second president of Mexico, he was Afro Indigena. But the thing about these motherfuckers that they weren't further pueblo. They were assimilated
Yeah,
to colonialism.
yeah,
You know,
and
they forgot.
that's the thing. Like, and let me clarify in that one that you just mentioned too, because I'm from what I know of records, they never actually have accurately portrayed him. none of his paintings of him came out to like years after he died. So all of them were like,
Well,
we think that is how he looks like from what they
yeah, yeah,
describe
yeah.
him.
And I know what you're saying because obviously there was no cameras back then, dog.
Yeah. And they didn't do any of his portraits till like he was already dead. Like he was way
Yeah,
gone by then.
they
But
also
they're
did the
like, well,
same
he
thing.
was he was dark. He kind of had like a little
They also did the same
beard.
thing to Moctezuma. Like people don't really know how he genuinely looked like.
Yeah.
Like the shit that you see is just uh an imagination of what he could have looked like.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
know.
even my the president that's part of my tribe that was the president, Benito Juarez, he was also a
Mhm.
Zapotec.
Yeah, yeah. I
The
was gonna say
port
that he's also.
the portraits they painted of him do not look like the actual photography that they took of him. He looked like me. He looked like me, but like with longer hair and no facial hair. He clean
Yeah,
shaves himself, but he didn't look anything like the actual portraits they made of him. Like they made
well,
him kind of look more Europeanish.
yeah, 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 yeah.
When in fact, if you ever look up his picture, he looks he looks like my relatives compared to the portraits that they painted of
Theo, Theo, is that you?
him. Hey, you never know,
Yeah, you never know.
but
But
I
yeah,
still appreciate him a lot.
yeah, but yes, just how I am, bro. I look at the world with try to look at the world in a different perspective, and
Yeah,
not so much or follow this. I want to say this cage that we're in, dog, and he was at least within United States.
yeah. I
You
mean,
know.
we've always been brainwashed. I mean, this place has been always surrounded with tribes people. I mean, there's always been natives here. And it's hard to believe that and I thought this like years ago, like maybe 20 years ago. I always asked myself, how is it that in this state we are the minority? Like everywhere I see us. Even on the west side where it's all white people, I
Oh, so
see us
we're
working the kitchens. We're still
yeah,
back
yeah.
there.
I want to say this, bro. Talking about minorities. So the reason why we are described as minorities is
Mm,
because, like, at least for the people that come from indigenous descendancy, we are fooled to believe that we are Latinos, that we
mm,
are Hispanos,
mm,
that we are just Mexicanos,
mm.
that we are just all of these little fucking titles, Chicanos, that
Yeah,
we're just Chicanics and all this other fucking identity separation. We're all segregating ourselves with these ideologies, right?
yeah,
But if so, imagine if those identities no longer existed and everybody identified of what they genuinely are the most.
yeah,
Like I would be like indigenous. People would be like, "Oh, indigenous is a global term." Yeah, you're right. It is a global term, right? And even there's African indigenous people.
yeah,
There's Asian indigenous people. But the thing is, my mentality is that they're not descendants or remnants of the biggest Holocaust that happened in all humanity. That's coming over here, conquering the quote unquote the Americas.
yeah,
So every we were all indigenous, dog. We were all of that,
yeah,
and I feel if everybody identified as that, not only that we will be enforcing or supporting Native Americans from the United States,
yeah.
we are also reclaiming our true identity.
Definitely. Definitely.
And how is that going to be a minority, bro, when everybody's identifying the same fucking identity?
Yep.
It's just like white people. And let's say if white people started to be like, yo, I'm white Ireland,
Yeah,
I'm white Polish, I'm
yeah,
white, they're segregating themselves even more. Now they're becoming minorities. But since they're all identified as white,
yeah,
it doesn't make them a minority.
yeah. I hear
So,
that.
you know, so it's like I don't know what's up with people, dog. They
That's true.
rather
That's true.
they
Because I mean,
they
yeah, you're right. You're right. It doesn't make sense that we're any kind of minority when we have literally two continents full of us.
Mhm.
There's no
Yeah,
way that we could be the minority of anything.
correct.
We've been the majority. We've always been the majority. We're still the majority. But you're right. That's how the system, how this government like fucks with our heads by making us think that we're minorities, by
Yeah.
placing that title on us. When you really do your research, you're saying, wait a minute, there's 2 continents worth of brown people. How the hell are we the minority? If
Yeah.
we all got together, we all gave ourselves the same name in Indigenous, we would be very powerful. We would be able to take back our lands, take back our homes, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But because I tell people that some people they want to say we need I guess restitutions. They need to give us back our land, that kind of stuff. Oh, is it restitution?
No, it's
It's
I
I
have
don't
it on
even
the
know.
tip of my tongue.
I know.
La, 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 la.
Uh,
I don't want to say retribution is not it either.
no, what the fuck is that word? If anybody in the live chat knows what I'm saying, put it in the live chat.
Like a
Uh,
compensation of what occurred here.
oh fuck. I think
Like, you know,
restitution is in court, but what was that word? Oh, right there you go. Risky business. My favorite guy right there. Reparations.
there you go.
That's
Yeah.
the word. Reparations. So
Gracias.
I tell people that
Nimisla
we're-
sokamati.
we can't go waiting on that to happen because it's not going to happen. It's going to cost too much money, or where there's a lot of lives that are going to have to be given up to get that back.
Yeah.
I think, and I tell people because you know how people some say that, oh, if you don't speak Spanish, you're not really Mexican,
Hmm.
and shit like that, or things of that man. But I told my audience, I don't know which episode, maybe it was the news with Norbies. I
Hmm.
said we are people that can adapt. If Spanish is the language, we're gonna learn it, we're gonna conquer it, and we're gonna make it better, and we're gonna make it ours.
Yeah.
Now, if English is now the next language, we're gonna adapt to it, we're gonna conquer it, and we're gonna make it work for us. That's why you have
Uh,
the term Spanglish.
yeah. I was gonna bring
Literally,
that up. I was actually
we
gonna bring that up right now, bro. So apparently, like, there was an article I read like years ago where it said like around 2050 or some shit like that.
yeah,
Won't be the primary language in California. It would actually be Spanish. It practically fucking already is, bro. The streets are named in Spanish, dog.
yeah.
You know,
And
but
the Europeans, Americans are learning Spanish, especially if
yeah,
they're in LA.
yeah. I mean, some of them even like learning hola and also shit, mucho
Yeah,
gusto,
yeah,
or like little simple gestures and shit that develops over, you know,
yeah,
develops interest to learn the language
yeah.
and then etc. But yeah, uh, I
But
don't.
that's the thing. Yeah,
I think. Yeah, I think any southern western parts of what is now known as United States is
yeah.
gonna speak a form of Spanglish.
I think so too, man. And but this is what I'm saying. Like, we're not gonna get these reparations. We're not gonna fight for that. What we're going
Oh,
to do,
we are not. You and me are not
yeah,
gonna get reparation from
no,
United
no,
States.
no. What we do is we adapt and we conquer. Like, there's like engineers will be the engineers. There's lawyers will be the lawyers. There people that change the laws will be those people that change that. Little by little, we would take over these things and eventually just make these laws to work for us.
But
Not
yeah,
only us, but for everybody. Because as far as I know, we don't really just do things for us. We do things so it'll be fair.
yeah.
You know?
But I want to bring this up though. It's cool that all the what you're saying. I agree with it. It's a beautiful
Yeah.
dream or deseo, you know.
Hey, we're getting
Um,
there. We're getting there.
but at what cost, bro? You know, I
That's
want
the
to say
thing.
at what cost? The way that I see it is at the cost of forgetting your ethnic background, forgetting who you genuinely are.
Mm.
You know,
And
uh,
yeah. You know what? This is the beef I've always had with my ancestors, because my ancestors intentionally hid whatever historical things we had.
mhm,
The only way I know this is because when the Spanish came to Monte Alban is the pyramids of my ancestors.
mhm,
When they got there was already a tribe called the Mixtecs.
mhm,
So uh, like just like any just like Cortez was there. He told them, all right guys, well, give us all the gold and the jade and everything you guys have in here. Give it all to us. We'll leave you alone.
Mm-hmm.
The mistakes were like in a fucking pickle because none of that stuff was in there. And they told him, well, none of this stuff is in here. Like, what do you mean
Mm-hmm.
it's not in there? So they went check. Not, they couldn't find shit in there. They couldn't find everything they found with the Aztecs or with everybody else. They couldn't find these things. So they obviously they told them, okay, well, if you guys are hiding it from us, you guys better give it to us, or we're just gonna take all of you guys out,
Yeah.
Spanish style. So the Mystics had to tell them, you know what, these pyramids aren't really ours. We actually just moved in here. The real people that these pyramids belong to, they live up there in the Sierra,
Mm-hmm.
and they were actually describing my tribe. So if you want to find whatever was in here, you're going to have to go and ask them up there because this was theirs. So
Yeah.
that actually made two battles happen in the Sierra where my tribe was at,
Mm-hmm.
where my tribe thankfully defeated two of Cortez's units enough to make them like surrender and just back off,
A retreat. Yeah.
retreat. They to the point where they even wrote a letter to the king of Spain telling them that Hernan Cortez telling the king of Spain, we took over Mexico, it's ours. There is only two. There's only two tribes that we really
Not
couldn't
Mexico,
conquer.
Nueva España, güey.
Nueva
You have to
España. There you go. Nueva España. He told.
shockingly, I just kind of want to quickly say this. Shockingly, Nueva España actually respected indigenous nobility.
I
They
believe you.
actually they respected indigenous lands and all that shit until that fucking padre from I forgot his name made a
Bro.
call out to do a revolution of like fuck that, we ain't not gonna be Nueva España no more.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's when Guerrero showed up. He was one of the second. He was the second person that showed up to the call. The other one was actual Spanish person
Yeah.
from Spain, and yeah, but yeah, we have to remember it was Nueva España. Dog. You
Yeah.
can't, we
You're
can't, we
right.
can't, we can't call it Mexico because Mexico didn't exist till like 200 years after Hernan Cortez had passed away.
Totally right.
So,
Totally right. So
so
correction. Nueva España. Nueva España. But as far as that part, so they were never able to get whatever it is they want to find in there because they couldn't defeat my tribe. So they just retreated. But even amongst my tribe, mind you, my tribe is spread throughout the whole Sierra.
yeah, nation,
So, so
Benza.
nobody knows where all that stuff is at. Everything that was
Well,
in those pyramids, nobody knows because it was taken out of there and put somewhere.
yeah, well, gold. I want to say gold wasn't really seen like how like the old world, like Europe and all that shit,
Yeah,
saw gold to be. To us, uh, j- precious stones were more valuable, and feathers were more valuable than gold.
yeah,
You know, yeah, there was gold around, some jewelry makers and stuff like that, but for the most part, it wasn't seen as like the most valuable mineral or
no, oh no, no, it wasn't
in
for us.
Mesoamerica. So we had like feathers was still
Well, for us, we eventually found out that we had books, and some of them were collected by the church later on and burnt.
Mhm.
Obviously, I'm pretty sure they kept some of them, but for the most part, what I wanted more was those books. What did they say? What history did they record on there? Because my tribe has been there for thousands of years,
Yeah.
and I know we had to, if we could build those pyramids, we had to have written some sort of historical records of
Mhm.
how all of this happened. But
Yeah.
none of it has been found since then. So it's tripped me out.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
this is
I
why I
know.
tell you why that pueblo called Via Alta, which is only
Mhm.
Spanish descendants, are there.
Your people fool? Nah.
Nah, but they're up there. I think they've been up there telling their descendants, wait for it. Whatever it is that these motherfuckers are hiding, we need to be there when they find it also.
Yeah.
Because that's been my beef with my ancestors, that they hid all of our knowledge. They hid all of our history. They completely hid everything. We don't know where it's at. We don't know what happened back then.
I think the Budapechas even do the same thing, but I know honestly, I don't empathize on like other indigenous groups. I acknowledge their existence,
Yes.
but I don't like no me meto en sus culturas, sus
Yeah.
pensamientos, and no stuff like that because I'm not part of that. You know,
Yeah.
that's not where where my raíces are originate from.
Yeah.
But like I've heard little things about that, but I can't say they're all factual stuff. It's just I take it as a grain of salt, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
No, no, and then that's why for me, those are the things I would want to know: the history, the what happened back then. How did all the how what were we doing before the Europeans were able to create their own math?
mhm.
Because we already had our own math way before they did.
Yeah, I want my bad. Ahorita a comment just caught
Something
my
caught
eye.
your eye? Go for it.
Yeah, it says the Apache hated Mexicans. So I want to say this:
Go for it.
The Apaches didn't hate indigenous people that were quote unquote nationalistic Mexicans. They hated the conquistador, that it was a fucking Mexican. You have to remember that shit. So when you say the Apaches hated Mexicans, that shit don't involve me. You know, that shit's the Espanol Mexican they hated. So just making that little statement and saying that the Apaches hated Mexicans, you're generalizing a nationality identity and including indigenous people, Afro Mexicans, Asian Mexicans, all into that bowl of fucking cage.
That's kind of like the way you said how the lighter skinned Mexican guy tells the other darker guy, eres prieto, all that stuff. Kind of like what you were
Uh,
saying earlier, in a
yeah,
sense.
I get. I mean,
Like
me
with
for
these,
I faced a lot of colorism growing up, bro,
yeah,
and living in racist Santa Barbara,
yeah,
California.
yeah. Oh yeah, bro.
That shit is racist as fuck. They don't.
That place is
It's,
nice though, bro. I
it's
mean, the
nice.
west
It's
side,
nice.
the
It's
west
nice.
side.
It's all gentrified now, but
Yeah,
for the most part, it's a racist city, bro, and it's
I'm
very
sure.
classist.
I'm
Classist.
sure. I'm sure.
I've never been to the rich side of Santa Barbara, other than Montecito, but as a landscaper,
Yeah.
you know, not because I got invited over there and you know I'm over here having cocktails with rich ass people or some shit, you know.
So
That's not my experience. My
you,
experience is kicking it with paisanos from my region
yeah,
or just paisas, you know, paisanos que apenas cruzaron, and that's always been around me. I grew up among immigrants,
yeah.
you know, and
I think
when
we
I
all
would
did.
go to yeah, but nah, dog, there's some motherfuckers that I mean, I'm first generation Mexican American in my family.
Yeah, same here.
Por eso, por eso I know Spanish a little bit. It might be fucked up, but at least I can hold a conversation,
Yeah,
you know. But there are quote unquote Chicanos or like they were like third generation Mexican American into United States. Se querían bien acá. And I've always been like what the fuck? Why they're always ganging up on the quote unquote Prieto, the one that looks more indigenous, the one that just has that indigenous accent of country,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and not the ciudad accent of Mexico. The paisas that you see are indigenous people that come from poverty pueblos looking for a better way of life in here in
yeah,
Mexico. But not now that doesn't mean that white Mexicans didn't want to migrate either. They migrated,
yeah,
but they didn't thought so when the Hidalgo, the Treaty of Guadalupe,
yeah.
bro. Mexico was fighting for Mexicans to be identified as white. Why? Why do you think that? because there are white
Ah,
because there
yeah.
is white Mexicans.
Thank you for clarifying that part.
Because there is white Mexicans, and so that's why there's but that generalized
Yeah,
everybody.
I hate that
But
argument. Well, what do you mean? You guys were always trying to register as white people.
nah,
Mexicans wanted to be white. They always wanted to register as. They fought to be white. I'm like, bro, the white Mexicans fought to be white.
yeah, yeah, that's what they were fighting. They weren't fighting for fucking indigenous people to be white. Fool.
Nah,
They were
nah.
fighting for white Mexicans to be white in
Yeah,
United States.
yeah.
Just
Well, it's funny that we were talking about that because this reminds me like today I heard an interview with this guy, our my city councilman. His name is Kevin De Leon.
uh-huh.
I don't know if you're familiar with him. He
Mm.
made the news because him and two other councilmen and union boss decided that they wanted to be very racist against brown people,
Uh
specifically the ones from my state.
yeah, oh, that lady from years back where they're
Yeah,
like, oh, son Oaxaquitas and all that shit.
yeah,
Do you know that's a fucked up shit. And then one of the things that I get a little bit jealous, I'm not gonna lie,
yeah.
is that Oaxaca ain't the only state that has indigenous people, motherfucker. Like there's Guerrero, there's Puebla, there's like
Yeah, okay, I
w-
get that. I
you know
get.
what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah.
we
Well,
guess
you know
quote
what?
unquote
Because
we
that
fit.
I think because that lady, her district has a little area that is Oaxacan. It's
Yeah,
right
yeah.
here by
Yeah, you
like
motherfuckers are
Pico.
deep fool over here in Santa Maria. In Santa Maria, California, there's a gang of fools from
Yeah.
Oaxaca. Yeah.
You know
Hey,
what?
I don't know if you know this, but the Nahuatl people, my ancestors of Central Mexico named uh not Oaxaca, it's supposed to be Washiaca.
Yeah,
Washiaca.
yeah.
So what it means it comes from two things, two nouns. Washing is a plant called wajes. A lot of people know them as wajes nowadays,
Yeah,
but the
yeah,
but the Nahuatl word is
yeah,
washing, and then the yaka part is actually yakatl, meaning nose.
yeah.
So what they were describing when they said wash yaka is that they always had fucking eating wajes, but
Ah,
then but the thing is over time, because los pendejos conquistadores couldn't pronounce it, so they
yeah,
say, "Oh, Oaxaca, Oaxaca," or whatever, you know? But
yeah,
yeah, the real name for what we know as Oaxaca is
yeah.
Oaxaca.
It's interesting too because the name Zapotec, from what I know, also came from from the Mexica.
Mhm,
It is supposedly supposed to be Nahua when they say Zapotec to describe us, because that's not
mhm.
actually what we would call ourselves.
Yeah, it's Benza,
Yeah,
you know?
what we call ourselves is it's I
Well,
always mess up the last part.
so they
It's
wouldn't call them Zapotec, it would be more, Zapoteca.
yeah,
Zapotecatl.
yeah,
That's the actual Nahuatl, where
yeah,
Zapotec, it's more of the English
yeah,
uh, way to say it. In
yeah,
Spanish is Zapoteco,
yes,
but the Nahuatl where it is Zapotecatl
yeah. But
or
what we actually called ourselves was Bene her.
Benza or some shit like that.
Bene. You know that's the thing about our language, that for some reason I don't know why, but in that same area where all of our pueblos are at,
Mhm.
our language got divided by like 38 different variations of it.
Yeah,
So
so
it's
the
a
only
trip.
reason why, yeah, I want to say the reason why that occurred, it even happened in Nahuatl or in very many indigenous languages out in Mexico, is
Yeah,
because we have to understand that indigenous language was frowned upon at a point, at some point in Mexico's history,
yeah,
and I want to say that it still is to this day.
yeah.
People are being mocked for speaking in their native
Oh yeah,
language
oh yeah.
publicly,
That's a fact right there. That's definitely a
so
fact.
imagine that, imagine having to experience that nearly on a daily basis back in the day. It made people now, it would discourage people of like, oh, no, they don't want to talk in their native language, and then now parents wouldn't teach their kids the
Yeah,
language very much. So now
yeah,
there's like a cortada within the family, and eventually the language is forgotten. But sometimes there are
yeah,
people that they try to sustain it, but when they already try to sustain it, it's it's already corrupted. The
Yeah.
language is corrupted.
Yeah.
So that's why there's so many variants, and I think we gotta understand is the civilizations in Mesoamerica, like that's all, including the Zapoteca people
Yeah.
and the Purepecha and also these, established civilizations. They had schools to properly speak their language, bro.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so
No, I mean,
and
for my
now
pueblos,
and
it's
now
also same.
yeah, and now when colonialism started, those schools were no longer uh permitted or accepted or whatever. So
Yeah.
that's corrupting or intervening the language of evolution.
Yeah.
So that's why there's so many fucking variants because every pueblo, indigenous pueblo, they try to speak it, but what they remember, but then sometimes they change the meaning of words,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So like in Nahuatl, traditionally to say like a man or hombre or a male is oquichtli. Now in modern Nahuatl, they say tlacatl, but tlacatl in like in the old days
Yeah.
means a person, a human being. It doesn't mean a man and all that shit.
Ah, okay.
So
Okay.
now modern Nahuatl, they they mess that shit up, you know.
Yeah.
The Huasteca variant, like there's not all the Huasteca, but some. I forgot what version. I think it's the northern part of Veracruz or something like that. They say piali. Piali and traditionally is just a noun for to describe, like to hold, to deposit, or that's just the like the meaning, rough, loosely meaning of that word, piali.
Yeah.
But estos, I don't want to get too disrespectful, but these people
Yeah.
use it as a greeting. But in Nahuatl, you can't use it as a greeting because it's not an introduction. It's not like how it is like previously somebody earlier that said tawi, right?
Yeah.
Um, Piali to them it's supposed to be like a formal thing, so they had to say like ni meets pia, ni meets piali, or some shit like that to like
Yeah.
to say that I'm greeting you. You
Yeah.
can't just say piali and be thinking it's a hello. It's not no fucking hello. You're telling me deposit, dog. Like
Yeah.
hold, like hold. That's not a greeting, dog.
Yeah,
A
so
real
that's the
greeting.
trip how that happened. Like it just starts becoming something else and leaving away from its originality.
Yeah, it's integrity.
Yeah.
And then people, and then all these so-called Nahuatl hablantes, they don't even know how to write Nahuatl, dog.
Yeah.
So how the fuck are they gonna be teachers? And
That's
then
true.
like,
That's true.
so there's so much things that I see, and just being a third person on the internet, on social
Yeah.
media, seeing other Nahuatl speakers, and etc. I see a lot of the flaws and it's like,
Yeah.
for me personally, I would rather go back to what we know as to be one of the known oldest writings. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There are dictionaries on like old Nahuatl,
Yeah.
and they have their entries and shit. It might not be perfect, but
Yeah.
at least we get a better idea instead of going around saying piali as a fucking hello. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, it'd be good that everybody gets educated on the proper way of the pronouncing
yeah,
words. And
yeah,
but this is why I tell you I have a big beef with my ancestors because they hit all this stuff. Like it's crazy. And there's one thing I love about my grandma. And I think some people would say this is a bad thing, but my
uh-huh.
grandma never learned Spanish. She
Uh,
only she only knows her language, our language, and that's it.
that's tight. That's dope.
Yeah, but she's not. A lot of her other people from the pueblo are just like that. They never learn Spanish. They
Well,
wouldn't
that's
say one
because
word.
I mean, there's communities out there that people just don't feel the need to quote unquote be civilized. Living in the cities.
Yeah.
Hay gente que le gusta vivir the country life.
Yeah. Well, like
Cerca.
I said, we're all the way up there in the mountains. They didn't really have any good reason to learn Spanish unless they needed to like report to the capital or something.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
aside
That's
from
to me, that's just tight. That's just
and
dope.
me too. At
That's
first, I was like, "Oh, she doesn't know Spanish. How am I gonna talk to her?" Because I could speak Spanish. I'm
yeah,
like, "How am I gonna communicate it?" I don't know. You're just gonna have to just nod your head and hope for the best, which is pretty much what I did with my grandma when she would say something. I'm like, "Yeah, yeah."
No, yeah, but that's how it is sometimes, fool. I
But
mean,
I'm actually later on in life, I'm like, you know what? Fuck yeah, I'm pretty happy that my grandma said, you know, I don't need to learn fucking Spanish.
yeah,
Why? I don't need that shit. I speak my own
yeah.
language.
But see, yeah, no, but I mean, because we live up here, and you,
Yeah,
I mean, you live into one of the biggest fucking cities in the world,
yeah. For here,
Los
it's very
Angeles,
important to know Spanish
Spanish
because
and English, and you
yeah,
know,
yeah, bro.
and
It's a
and we don't,
requirement.
yeah, we don't really have, and we know that this is not our ancestral land. I know that I know that I'm in Chumash land.
Yeah,
And like
I think that goes all the way
that's
down
why.
here. I forgot that
So
there
like
is a
Malibu, I
yeah
think.
there's a yeah. That's probably why there's that earthquake. It's finally time.
And it's highly tight. Hey, fool, I'm ready for it. Like, I
Finally
remember
time.
the San Andres fault line and shit.
Well,
Like, some people are afraid of that shit. I'm like, I'm ready for it, dog. Like, that to me, I don't see like como te diría. It's kind of a pretty harsh way of thinking,
yeah,
but I love the idea of dying together alongside my family
that's
than die
respectable. I
than
can see that.
dying alone. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah, I can see that.
So to me, I see it as like hell yeah, like
You better hope you're not in the middle of the roads out there by yourself.
and
You're
I
like,
don't
nah,
know.
they're gonna go with me. They're gonna go with
And
me.
then if like somehow Santa Barbara just like disappears, which is more than likely that it will, since it's a coastal city.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, there
I
goes
wouldn't
their
want
houses.
I wouldn't want to be a survivor, dog. Like just because I see it as like damn, like my whole city's gone. Like
Yeah.
my memory, my barrio, my where I grew up when I was a little, woo woo woo.
So your town
Uh,
is really close to the actual coast.
yeah, it's
Like how many
yeah,
miles
fool,
are we talking about?
fool, less than a mile. I live near the beach, like less than a mile, dog.
What? Really? They
Yeah,
let you live there?
yeah, yeah, and then the
they,
mountains and
they didn't
shit.
try to take it away from you. Hey, you guys can't
Nah,
live here anymore. We're taking it.
nah, nah. I mean, nah. This just Santa Barbara's. I was fortunate. I don't know how the fuck my family ended up here, but
That's good, man. I'm glad. I'm glad because, bro, you know what? It always puts me down when I'm on the west side and I'm by the beach and I see these nice fucking houses right there in the fucking beach.
we're
And,
in
yeah,
Santa
in
Barbara.
Santa Monica,
Oh, Santa
like Santa
Monica.
Monica, fucking Malibu, fucking Redondo Beach, Manhattan Beach. You walk over there and you see, fuck, these are some nice houses, but it's all white people.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's all European Americans.
Well, yeah, those people. They've been quote unquote longer. They were their family been at the start of when the United States was being developed
Yeah,
and using the slavery.
yeah.
Just that's and then the European Americans making money off of that.
Pretty
You
much.
know,
I mean, yeah, bro.
and
I'm
so these
still
so
I'm
these
still
people.
fucking shocked how they were able. I'm more shocked how they were able to learn how to utilize petroleum, how they were able to locate gold here, how they were all the minerals. I'm fucking surprised how you had all of United States to look for all this shit on the east side, but somehow, some way, you knew coming to the West Coast, you're going to find all of those things and more.
Oh, you talking about the gold rush and shit?
Yeah, all of that, the oil, the gold rush. How the fuck did you guys know how to find all that shit here? You had the whole
I
East Coast to fucking explore for hundreds of years, but
mhm.
something told you fucking 300,
Go west.
400, go west because there's something there.
Uh,
It's like
I want
it's
to.
like if one of them fucking went back in time and told them, "Hey, go over there. That's where they have all the good shit."
Yeah, I would like to think just like geographic, like just knowing that because there's a certain method to find gold. I'm not really familiar with it, but it's based on like the landscape of it, and just like how in Mexico there's a gang of silver more than more than gold, but now they just discovered that that shit that they use for batteries,
Fucking
uh, lithium.
lithium, yeah, lithium, yeah.
You
They
know,
nationalized it also.
Yeah.
So any lithium they try to get out of Mexico, Mexico's gonna make money off of that.
Mm-hmm. So there's certain ways to find certain things. Just
Yeah, but
because.
look, but we could accept that now because we have technology. How the
Uh
fuck
huh.
did they do it when they only had a carriage and a horse
Yeah, yeah.
and hundreds of miles of fucking
That
country that
I'm
they
pretty
had?
sure. I'm pretty sure that led European Americans to believe like, damn, this is a manifest destiny. Yeah.
Right.
Those motherfuckers.
Nah, man. I think somebody went back in time. Somebody went back in time, told these European Americans, go here, go there, start digging here. You're gonna find all the good shit. And this world is gonna be ours for the taking.
If I see what you're saying, but then, in my opinion, like it's more of like, why them? Why European Americans? And if you say something all because they're white, it's because you subconsciously believe in white supremacy, fool. Or you
Yeah.
know that it exists. So why them? And why not the colored people? There's more
Angels.
color. And just
Angels. Angels. Angels.
uh, I mean, I'm not a fan of that, but
I'm
like
not a
I've
fan of them either. But how the fuck
every angels and every church that I've been to have European characteristics. I've never seen African straight up angel, big old fucking afro from
nah,
the
yeah,
80s
yeah,
or
you never.
70s. Or
You ask
you don't.
anybody that's a Christian, hey, can you describe an angel to me? Blonde, white skin, blue eyes.
Yeah, they don't.
Every
You're not
fucking
gonna see
time.
an indigenous motherfucker with
Nah,
long braided hair, high cheekbones, being an angel. It's
you're
all,
not.
it's
You're
all,
not.
it's all widows. It's all
Do
European.
you know in that book of theirs, and I'm gonna say that book of theirs,
Hmm.
it describes them actually teaching them magic, teaching them how to use, how to create steel, how to create weapons, the art of war. All these
Hmm.
things were taught to them by angels, according to that book.
Fuck no, they all that shit that they know, they robbed it from cultured people.
But you ever wonder how a little
Who
ass
who create
continent like Europe can do so much?
for here's an example, like who discovered gunpowder? Well, we know it as gunpowder.
I want to say the Chinese.
Yeah, China. How the fuck did European people
But that
got it?
part,
They
yeah,
stole that shit.
yeah, oh yeah.
They stole all of their shit, bro. Majority of all their stuff, they're still. Here's the only thing that I want to say: white people are the most violent human being on planet Earth.
Hey, but don't you think it's a trip how the northern side of Asia, all the Asian people are also white, and the southern ones
Well,
are
that's because
actually
they're on their
brown
because they're in the
because they're in the north?
northern pole, North Pole. It's
Is
always
that
kind
an,
of it's
is that a valid reason for them not turning brown?
there's straight up
'Cause
crazy light skinned
let's say we
Native
were born
American
in Europe. You think we're gonna turn white?
and still have the descendancy that we have
Yeah,
and being indigenous. Fuck no. I mean, we would lighten up, but we'll
we'll
still
be
be brown
we'll
as
still be brown. That's what I'm
fuck.
saying. But and I always found it odd that the Asians up north are white, literally white, like the whites from Europe.
Yeah.
Not only that, but
It's just
the
you
white
put them
Asian
closer
the
to the
white Asians,
equator.
they sound exactly like the white people when they start speaking English.
I
They
never
can
see.
sing like them.
I
They can
never had
sing.
a. I never had the privilege to actually talk to somebody from China.
Yeah,
Or the northern parts of China. So I wouldn't know. I could be.
they
I can
got
make my
yeah,
make my. I can make my opinions about them. Being a third person watching a fucking video or some shit.
yeah,
But it's one thing watching something and then actually living it in person.
yeah.
You know.
It's a trip. I saw this movie called The Monkey King. It's a
Hmm.
Chinese movie.
Yeah, I like some Asian movies, like Journey to the West. I don't know if you ever seen that.
Well, that's based off the Monkey King.
Oh, Sun Wukong.
Yeah, Sun Wukong. That he's the Monkey King. So it's a trip though because it reminded me of like Mexican movies where everybody that was good in that movie were white Asians. Everybody that was bad in there were were evil people.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, wait a minute, wait a minute, it's happening there too.
Yeah. What
They
happened? It's happened. It's at
discriminate the brown
yeah.
Asian people.
Well, fucking Spain started racism, so I want to say, and then to this day, we've always kind of known that United States have always had like the all eyes on United States
Yeah,
culturally and etc. So beauty standards kind of changed over time. And we
yeah,
can't say that Europe never influenced China. I think the British were in China for a very long time.
you're right. You're right.
And they brought their idealistics out there too,
I want to say
and
they colonized China for a bit, right? Like the way
yeah,
they did
yeah,
India.
yeah. So they're bringing their state of minds and actually mistreating the people of color once again.
Yeah.
It's
Bro,
always
I'm telling you, it trips me out. How does a
uh,
little continent like that throughout history conquer places like China, India, Africa, South America?
because
Eh,
all the motherfuckers identify as white.
but they're
Or
not
my
even that.
prime
They don't even have the numbers. It doesn't make sense to me. Does it make sense
no.
to you that little ass
I want
continent?
there's
Mm,
a philosophy that a small group can control over thousands of people, you know, uh, or influence people. It's just like how we are doing right now. We're just two individuals speaking,
yeah,
having a conversation, being an
yeah,
inspiration, inspiring those, or just being criticized by
yeah,
others. But we're we have a power of our own just because we're speaking. I feel my power. I sometimes see it, with people uh giving me positive feedback,
yeah,
etc.
yeah,
And I get tripped out, bro. Like I trip out. I've had people cry to me, telling me thank you, and for inspiring them, letting them find out who they genuinely are.
yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
just a fucking the way that I see myself, I'm just a fucking morenazo from Macayahualco Guerrero.
yeah,
Soy I don't have degrees. I'm not no
yeah,
fucking doctor. I'm not no fucking woo woo woo.
yeah, yeah,
I'm a Mexican American that doesn't really have much materialistic wise,
yeah.
but value and all that,
Yeah, well,
stuff
I
that
mean
money can't buy.
yeah,
I'm rich in that aspect,
yeah.
you know.
I mean,
But
learning your roots does it does make you rich. Learning your roots, taking it in and accepting it and embracing it, that definitely levels you up in another way.
yeah, I remember this one time, bro. So like I said earlier or previously, that I've always been around people that are illegal immigrants, if you want to call it that. I know that I don't really call them as that, but
I call them
you know,
Americans.
you know, that's good. But this one time, a Karen showed up, but went inside my pad, dog, because we were in the backyard con un tamborazo, being,
Hell yeah,
doing all that, and this person just shows up. At the time, I had a German neighbor.
yeah,
She actually pulled over. She was like, "Hey, you want to Kyle? You want Kyle? You want to check out the
yeah,
little desmadre that we're doing?"
yeah.
She came over, and then that Karen, I don't know who the fuck she was. She just walked into my pad, dog, and
Like it was hers.
she probably
She
thought,
colonized your pad.
hold on, yeah, something like that. So I was all like, "Oh, she fucked with the wrong one."
Yeah,
I I coulda had the right to fucking slam and beat the shit out of her because I
yeah,
coulda like, I don't know if this crazy bitch has a gun or
yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
just start ping, 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 ping,
yeah.
but
You never know.
I have values, dog, so I just didn't do that, but I could have.
Yeah,
She was an invader.
yeah,
Like, who the fuck is this person?
yeah.
I feel I have to protect my parents.
Of
Well,
course.
anyhow, I started I started to just kick knowledge to her, like, I was just telling her, like, "How the fuck you think your people uh, got their land, this United States land, because with the same shit that you're doing right now, coming over my house, invading, and trying to set rules and all that shit. That's what your fucking ancestors did." I'm like, I told him, "You're not even from here. Your ancestors ain't even from here. They're from Europe." Da 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 da. And I was like, This used to be Mexico land. So how the fuck are you gonna be complaining about Mexican traditions or customs?
Yeah.
and etc. I was just going off on her, dog. Like I was just like, she fucked with the wrong one, fool. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
she probably thought that I was going to be like, she was going to a Mexican home that they're going to be very submissive, like, oh no, por favor, no le hables a la policía, or
Yeah.
da da da
Yeah.
da da.
Yeah.
Nah, fuck that. I'm like, you fucking with the wrong one.
Bitch, I got rights.
you know? Yeah.
And
So,
you're
I was just,
violating mine right now.
hell yeah. But I was very kind, even
Yeah.
regardless of that instance. I didn't call the police or anything like that. I'm fucking Mexican, dog. I grew up in the barrio, dog. We don't fucking call the police. Yeah, fool. We just like, fuck it, we're gonna handle it however way. But
Definitely.
yeah, I've had that. Like
That's good.
these like entitlements. That
Yeah.
shit's crazy, dog.
It is, dude. It is. It really is. It's a trip that people are like that, man. And you know what? I want to point out these two things right there.
Mhm.
One is risky business comment. A Mexican American indigenous shit don't make sense. But I think it's the other way around. I guess it would be indigenous American.
No,
What do you
so
think?
we have to remember Mexican American is a nationality identity. It's not a
Mm.
race. It's
Yeah,
not
that's
even
why
an
I
eth-
didn't say Mexican. That's why I just
it's
said
not even
indigenous American.
it's not even an ethnic group.
Yeah.
It's not. You have to accept that. You may think because you listen to corridos, you may think it because you got fucking dickies and all that shit, you think it might be an ethnic group, but it's not. It's not an
Mm.
ethnic group.
No.
Not even in Mexico. It's a fucking ethnic group. So when I say Mexican American, I'm actually identifying as my nationalistic identity. When I
Mm.
say indigena, I'm actually identifying as my racial identity.
Yeah.
And if I say Nahua, now I'm identifying as my ethnic identity.
Yeah.
And if I want to put in state pride, oh, yo soy guerrerense. If I
Mm.
want to, do all say
Yeah.
all that, that's all what I know of my identity to be.
Yeah.
Don't mistake that you believe that fucking Mexicans are race. It's not no fucking race. So
Yeah.
when you make generalized comments, like previously that person like, oh, the Apaches hate Mexicans.
Yeah.
Those are generalized comments.
Yeah.
That puts everybody that are Mexican nationalistic into that comment, which is not fucking true.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not confusing. It's because you're ignorant.
Yeah. And here's the other one. The word pocho. Uh, from my backstory that I know of it, a guy from LA, his name is Ruben something. I forget his last name, but I know his first name is Ruben. His story is that when he went to, I guess he went to the F
Mhm.
because he wanted to, from what he said, he wanted to visit the motherland.
Mhm.
In his opinion, uh, that was the first time he ever heard anybody refer to him as a pocho.
Mhm. Yeah, that's what people from
And
Mexico call
uh,
people
yeah,
from up here.
and the way he described this guy as a banker looking guy, and we're talking about like 1960s or maybe early 1970s.
Mhm.
He said he was in the streets in the city, and this banker looking guy is the one that called him a pocho.
Yeah.
Told him you can't even speak Spanish,
Yeah.
and
They
I
call I want to say even though I know Spanish and I can hold a conversation,
yeah,
I'm still called pocho, dog.
and
And
I want to say because mind you, he described this guy as a light skinned banker looking guy, nice
mhm.
suit, well dressed, light skinned. He was a European Mexican.
Yeah.
So back
So
then,
pocho, I want to say this, pocho, uh this is take it as a grain of salt, everybody. So in Nahuatl, there's a word tepochtli, right?
mm,
And tepochtli means dumb.
oh,
Now, okay,
oh,
so now there's a word also that poch in that word could also I'm trying to remember the fucking young man and young woman words. It also has poch in it, but it's referencing a young dumb man, a
yeah,
young dumb male, a young dumb woman. But that's because when we are in our adolescent time, we think
yeah,
we know the fucking world. We are fucking
yeah,
ignorante. We're etc. Right? So if it's the description of being tepochtli,
yeah,
so But now we're living in modern times, language being corrupted, like I've
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
So people say, could say ocho,
Yeah.
cutting it, cortándole. Other people could fucking say pocht, or etc. But yeah, pocho, it means like, it's kind of like it's a modernized, modified word from the corrupted from tepochtli,
Yeah.
which means dumb, que eres tonto. And we do sound dumb when we are speaking in a language that
Yeah.
we're not familiar with.
Yeah.
So, si imagínate, you don't speak Spanish very well, you're gonna sound like a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
So that's why it's
It
pocho.
it's a trip too because you said it right there. They pretty much use those words of that language to use it as insults. Like recently, now you could correct me if I'm wrong on here, but the term squinkle, you heard the word squinkle, right?
Yeah,
What
squeak.
what do you think that means for you when you hear someone say squinkle?
Just a specific dog breed, squinkly.
No, no, but I mean it's like in Spanish. No te portes como un squinkle.
Yeah, so
Do you see where I'm going with that?
a little bit. It's just it's like, don't act like a dog. I guess in some instance.
And then they
I never.
then the way they name gangsters in Spanish, cholos
Yeah.
and
Okay.
cholos and the
So
squinkles.
I want to say this. Xolotl in Nahuatl not only is it like a creator, a deity, or a god, however you want to describe it,
Yeah,
uh, but it also describes somebody that is a servant to whoever.
yeah,
So I could say Texolotl, and that would mean someone's servant
yeah,
or slave, in other words, or somebody that's always accompanying you. Si yo, por ejemplo, yo siempre I will go anywhere, wherever I'm going, wherever I decide, tú estás pegado,
yeah,
you're right next to me, like, you're my xolotl, you're my servant.
yeah,
So whenever you seen that word xolotl in squinkle or squinkly, it's because it's describing the dog always being aside of you.
yeah,
You're being your servant, being like siempre está pegado a ti como chicle. So
yeah,
that's what xolotl really describes.
yeah,
But it doesn't convert to cholo. Cholo could possibly come from choloa, which is a verb for somebody that is running away, that is a coward,
yeah,
somebody that doesn't want to fight,
yeah.
and then there's, yeah, so that's what do gangsters do when fucking police comes, fool?
Oh yeah, they do gotta run away. They're
They
gonna
run
get.
away, they run, and then
I
da da da
mean,
da da.
we all have to run away back then when they were.
Yeah, yeah.
But
So yeah, there you
yeah,
go.
but that was like that hit me. I'm like, wait a minute, because you said they use words like that. They would use words to like turn it into something else
Yeah,
or use
corrupted.
it in a way to attack. Like I never understood that when somebody say te está portando como un pinche escuincle,
Hmm.
and I always thought you're just being a bad kid.
Yeah.
But I never
Mm,
understood that when I actually saw how you write out Sholo squinkle, I
mhm,
think it's like that. I'm like, oh shit, that's how you fucking spell it.
mhm.
I'm like, how the fuck did they get that word? They've been
Well,
using it for so many years. I never knew where they actually got the word. I always thought it was a Spanish word. I never
yeah,
even looked
a
it
lot
up.
of there's a lot of Mexicans that speak some form of, or as they say Nahuatl words, believing that it's Mexican, like Spanish.
Yeah, so it's
You
like
know.
the way it's the same manner that how I said that we would use Spanish and English and call it Spanglish.
Hmm.
In this sense, it would be the same thing, but
Yeah.
except it would be Nahua Spanish.
Uh
Now,
huh. Uh huh. Uh huh. Yeah. That was Spanish
Spanish.
is a real
Yeah,
fucking thing.
yeah, and but that's evidence that we do love our language, but we eventually will whatever language that's trying to be the I don't know what you would say, but the more used, we will eventually use it, and we would
Hmm.
make it our own also. Because we know that in the Spanish language, they had to add Nahua words into it. Even in the dictionary, they had to add Nahua words.
Hmm.
I mean, aguacate is in the Spanish dictionary.
Yeah, but that's what Mexico Spanish is not. Well, the real fucking name for Spanish is Castellano.
Mm,
That's the real name of the language.
yeah,
Spanish, that comes from like the United States American
yeah,
mentality, but
yeah.
the real around the
You're right.
world,
You're
they
right.
know that language as Castellano.
Yeah. There you go, guys. If
So,
you guys
but
didn't know what they refer to that language in the rest of the world, Castellano.
so Mexico's Castellano, aka Spanish, is not the same as Castellano from Spain. It's two different things.
Yeah.
And then there might have been maybe some reminiscences of influences that came from Mexico to there, just like vice versa. But I don't think so. I think the way they speak, I've seen Spanish people speak their Spanish, fool, and I'm like, verga, with like,
Yeah.
like our shit is fucked,
But that's a trip though, because if you learn, I guess, well, we'll just call it Spanish for now. But if you learn Mexican Spanish, you also learn a bit of Nahuatl
Yeah, some
by
parts, yeah,
default. By default, you speak a certain percentage of your Spanish language is Nahuatl language. It's not completely Spanish. You're using words that are actually Nahuatl. You actually incorporated Nahuatl into your what you would think is Spanish, what it's
yeah.
not
I'm gonna
actually.
I'm gonna give you some words. Let's see how.
Yeah,
So what do you think chiquihuite means? Now
chiqui,
this is a Nahuatl word, but this is modern.
chiquihuitl, chiquihuitl,
Chiquihuite.
chiquihuite,
Chiquihuite.
chiquihuite. That's the one. Ah, okay, I
So
couldn't guess.
chiquihuite is a tortilla canasta. So, I mean, literally it comes from
Oh,
chiquihuia.
okay, okay, okay.
It comes from chiquihuia.
And that's
But
what they would call it there,
back in the day, it was originally called chiquihuia, but then now it got Spanishized, if you want to call it that,
which
with
is
chiquihuite. That te at the
oh
end gives it that Spanish or Castellano twang, if you want to
yeah,
say that.
yeah.
And now here's another one, tipeshiwi.
Tipichiwi,
Tip
tipichiwi,
tip tipeshiwi.
tipa, tipachiwi.
So tipeshiwi means I forgot the original Nahuatl word, but it's this one. Tipeshiwi is I guess another Spanish Nahuatl word, but it
Yeah.
just describes an animal that fucking died from like falling.
Damn.
Yeah,
There's a word for that.
yeah,
That's a wild.
yeah,
But that's cool because I didn't realize that now until like really talking with you about that and realizing that wait a minute, the Spanish that is from Mexico, that's not the same, I guess, as it would be in Spain. It's
yeah.
a mixture of Nahua and Spanish. It's a mixture. And I don't think too many people
Here-
realize that that's what it is.
here's
That's
another
what it,
one. Nakatete.
Nakatete,
Uh-huh.
Nakatete,
What do you think that means?
hammock.
Nakatete in modern day Nahuatl, or means someone that's naked.
Neck.
So if I tell you estás nakatete, I'm telling you
What?
you're fucking naked. But it comes from nakat, being flesh, and then nakat actually means like mushroom, but because it has a meat flesh texture that they
Uh,
yeah. But yeah,
is it
nakatete.
possible that the word naked came from that?
Nah, I don't think so.
Because
And
I don't see how in English naked works in there. I mean, nude. I could say nude,
yeah,
naked.
I don't think so because we have to remember that there's no Nahuatl in United States. There's no Nahuatl
Yeah.
that originates in the United States. There's no Nahuatl groups in here.
I want to say
So
the United States adopted a few words that did come from Spanish.
mhm. Oh yeah, that's most definitely has happened.
Yeah.
What was
But I mean,
one
even the word of avocado. I don't even know how they came up with that word.
aguacate?
But how did they transform it?
Aguacat, aguacat,
Avocado.
yeah, aguacat. I mean,
But
aguacat.
that's why I tell people. That's why I say like we we're going to change things to fit us eventually. This 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 government that's here in the U.S. eventually is going to change to fit us one way or another.
Don't have faith into foreign leaders, leaders. Never have faith in them.
Oh no.
You can't have faith and have this illusion that they are for us. They are not. They will never be. Because why? Because their ancestors built it out of massacring, pillaging,
That's
destroying the
facts.
original people, destroying the languages, etc. So
Yeah.
why would you have faith into any country, whether it's Salvador, Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, Panama, Costa Rica, the Caribbean islands, the Caribbean island, whatever. Kind of those motherfuckers don't have no interest into people like me or people that are indigenous they identify with indigenous, they know who they are.
Yeah.
They have no interest.
No.
Now we have to also remember that these people believe in full bloodness. So they're not a fan of half white, half black, half white, half
Yeah.
indigenous and all that shit. They want to sustain their purity
Yeah.
for their nation that their ancestors built. So why would you have faith in a fucking government like that of any
Yeah.
of Latin America or of any
But it is trippy. It is interesting that you bring that up too, because I know
'cause-
there's certain tribes out there that are also try to keep 100% like of their bloodlines, like as
yeah,
pure as they can keep them.
yeah. So there's a thing, there's an inevitable thing that's gonna occur to humanity, and that is mixing. But the
Mm.
problem about mixing is that people tend to lose who they are.
Yeah.
But they don't know. I've met so many motherfucking Mexicanos out there that look like they're indigenous as fuck. It's like undeniable, but they don't know who they are. So imagine being mixed. Now you don't even know if now you're not gonna fit in the African American community. Now you're not gonna fit it into the white community, the
Yeah.
indigenous community, the Arab community, Asian community, all that shit because you're so fucking mixed. So now that you talk about that, that's what that our author was talking about, la raza cósmica.
Ah,
That's what that book, la raza
yeah, yeah, I remember that.
cósmica,
And everybody says, "Oh,
is
you're trying to say, have the pure race, called La Raza from that guy that brought a book in Mexico."
so la raza cósmica is what that is. It's talking about the inevitability of human beings mixing.
Yeah.
So what that is doing is it's ethnically doing erasure, not only to Native Americans, to African Americans, to all of people of color. So every time that you mix, you're diluting your heritage, your identity,
Yeah.
and now you are something else.
Yeah.
And then you could be like, damn, how can you say that, Rain? Well, there's a lot of fucking Latin Americans out in the world that believe the identity of mestizo. If you believe that fucking identity, then you believe in la raza cósmica. You
Yeah.
know, like that's why I don't ever say viva la raza. I don't say that shit no more. When I found that shit, I was like, man, fuck that shit.
I
I'm gonna
never
try to.
me personally, I never connected to that book or that phrase. I only for me when I say it, I
I
connect it to just brown people
Yeah,
in general.
I want to say that I did connect to it a little bit, but uh, the time that I did, it was because I conjoined it with like gang culture,
Ah, okay.
nationalistic views,
Yeah.
you know, that we're all one people bullshit, uh, and ignoring the social problems that we actually have within Mexico
Yeah.
and etc. Right? But when I started to realize that my people, they never said that shit. They never say that "Viva la raza" in Nahuatl communities. They never fucking say that. Like,
Well, I'll give you that. Not too
so
many of them
I'm
actually
pretty
say
sure,
something like that.
I'm pretty sure the people from your region, they don't say "Viva la raza." Like, what the
No, they
fuck?
don't. I want to say that's more of a California thing, probably.
Yeah, more likely
I
because
mean,
there was what's his name, Salazar from Los Angeles,
yeah,
that post writer. He was
yeah,
a
yeah,
fucking to me. He was a neo Mexica. A
yeah,
neo Mexica to me is somebody that believes that we're all fucking Aztecs, that we're all Maya,
yeah,
and nothing else existed, and just keep on pushing that propaganda of that
yeah.
you're Aztec. You should take pride in it. Like motherfucker, how do you know that I'm Aztec?
Yeah.
Like,
But you
and
know
then
what? I want to add to that and say that even the Mexican government wanted to push that narrative to all the people
yeah,
of Mexico.
of course. Because they had to. Because the reason why they had to is because they weren't honoring indigenous nobility no more. They wanted to make everybody feel we're all equal, we're all the same. Ain't
Yeah,
no fucking we
yeah,
ain't the same fool.
yeah,
Like, how the fuck is somebody that has a granja
yeah,
ganado a lo way
yeah,
compared to somebody that is a campesino? You
yeah,
know, somebody that works in the field.
yeah,
How we the same? You
yeah.
know,
That's a
but they
trip.
were they were they
You
were
know,
pushing that narrative.
you know, it's trippy. I had a relative that actually got a tat that actually said Aztec on there. I'm like, bro, why would you do that? We're not
Who who
Aztecs.
who did that? Oh, I know. I be
A
tripping out. Fool.
relative, a relative. I'm like,
I
bro,
be
we're not Aztecs. Why would you put that on yourself?
I be tripping out on that shit, fool. When I see people that I know for damn well they're not Mesoamericans that they descend from the foreigners,
Yeah,
like homies, homeboys,
yeah.
like I'll be like, fool, that's appropriation. Like, 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 how the fuck you Aztec, dog? Like, why? Like
I'm telling you, man.
for me, I even seen Purepecha people like fucking like claim that identity of
Yeah,
Aztec or Mexica, and I'm just like, damn, you're like betraying your ancestries. Your ancestors were like one of the greatest foes of the Mexica or the Aztecs, you know.
that's why it's important to learn that part.
And then the
That
Zapotecs too. They didn't like the Mexicas,
now they
you
try to
know.
make the slaves according to
Yeah,
our stories. They try to make us into their
yeah,
slaves.
yeah.
It was
So
hard for them to go up.
it's always crazy to see. And what's another thing too is like here's another thing like when homies trying to be like, oh, did you earn that tattoo? Da 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 da, like trying to make it gang related and all that shit. I'm like, fuck you, dog. This is my sangre, homie. Like
Yeah.
if I want to fucking throw on Aztec tattoos, this is my sangre. You fetishize my sangre. Like,
Mm.
you want to be what I am. So how the fuck you gonna prohibit me from getting my actual traditional uh
Yeah,
artifacts of my
you're right about
ancestry?
that. I think in a sense it depends on how you use it. I mean, there's certain like symbols that it really wouldn't make sense to get unless you're part of something. If you know what I mean?
Yeah. Here
As
now
far as the numerical,
this
as far as
this might
numerical stuff.
this might be a touchy subject to others, but I'm gonna talk a little bit about the M, right? I'm gonna say this about the M. As much as the M tries to push that whole like, well, somos Aztecas and this and that, right? They
Let me pause there for a second. Just to let
Mhm.
everybody know, I do have the number up if you guys do want to call in. Because I think we said we were gonna take calls, right?
Don't do it, perro.
Just for a bit, just for a bit.
Nah, I'm gonna say this though.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
So La M,
Mhm.
you know, from what I understand, they created their organization based on the philosophy of Italians, right? The mobs.
Ah,
Italian
yeah,
people are not from the Americas. So whatever philosophy that they have is
yeah,
not it's not indigena, it's
yeah,
not indigenous, it's not Native American. It is the concept of fucking foreigners.
yeah,
That's pushing white supremacy.
and that's the part, yeah. I can see where you're going with that.
And then they're over here fetishizing their indigenous ancestry. It's like there's a contradiction there.
But that's what I'm saying, man. This is why we need to have more conversations like this as far as trying to trace back our
Well, no,
roots, our
that's the thing.
heritage.
That's the thing. Though, being fool, like me being indigenous, most indigenous people will give their life for their people. If I
Yeah.
have to die for my people, I will.
Yeah.
If it makes a statement to make a change amongst my people,
Yeah.
I will. I will give my life for my people. That's why I was not afraid to make the comment that I just did about the
Yeah.
Eme, you know? And if they are honorable people, as they said, some of them project themselves to be, then they would respect my comment.
Definitely.
And if they don't, it's because they are afraid of change. And if they're afraid of change, that means they're only stuck on the old ways of the
Yeah.
Italian mob.
Well, that's why that's like again, like I said, this is why we need to have these conversations so we could talk about our past, our history, our heritage, because I mean, you could say there's organizations that teach it, but who are they really reaching? They're reaching whoever could reach them.
Yeah,
Whereas
this,
us, we're here for literally everybody. We can reach everybody here. We don't have to go to a university to talk about what we're talking about. Back
yeah,
then, you had to go to university or you had to find a club that talks about these things,
yeah.
but it
And to talk about
wasn't.
that, yeah, you're right. And that's how Aztec danza came about.
Oh,
Aztec
oh,
danza,
what
the
do you
shit that you
mean?
guys see. I want to say Aztec danza, the shit that you see, it's all fabricated, fool. It's all fake.
Mm,
There's nothing traditional about it.
yeah, you know
Uh,
what? I
they-
can
that that comes from the concheros from fucking Querétaro. The concheros, they're
Querétaro.
Otomi people that adopted a certain style of dancing influenced by the Chichimeca people.
Yeah,
So
really.
now this Otomic person migrated to Mexico City around 1930s and brought the conchero style of dancing. And because they were in Mexico City, instead of calling the conchero or the concha dancing, they named it Aztec dancing. Why? Because they're in the capital. So it happened in 1930s when the Aztec danza bullshit started to happen.
Ah, ha, ha.
For those that don't know, so all that shit is new. And then that word ometeotl, like that's also fucking new. That shit came out in the 1950s by a fucking. No, this fool was like, I don't even. I want to say he wasn't even indigenous, dog. He might have been infatuated with the culture, but I don't think he was.
Yeah,
Uh, he invented that word, ometeotl. It's not a real. There's no evidence. There's no artifacts. There's no monument that honors that a deity or creator. It's not even a deity or creator because it's a fucking made up word.
we
But
have a
now,
phone call. You ready?
sopas.
Hey, let's see. Caller, your name and where you calling from?
Yes, sir. Risky business.
Risky business. All right, you could hear him, right?
Yeah, Simon.
Okay, he could hear.
¿Qué
All
más?
right, risky business. Let's have it.
You're kind of muffled, but I think that's what you're saying there.
Hmm?
What's up? What's up? What's up, fellas?
What's up, man?
Saludos, saludos.
Damn, I could barely hear. What's your name, there, dog? I couldn't get it from the light.
Kiyahuitl.
Kiawi.
And it's like it sounds real muffled. But what you guys chopping it up about tonight? No, Norby.
Actually,
Culture shit.
yeah, actually, I think we're pretty much just winging this one, right? We didn't really come in with a actual
A
thought.
firm topic or anything
Yeah,
like that.
we just pretty much winged it tonight.
We're flowing it,
Yeah,
out. I personally like it like that. To be honest with you,
yeah.
you know. But
All
yeah,
right, all right. Yeah. I'll be honest. What I hear is I hear a lot of complaining, bro, and most of the complaining that I hear is like about America and Mexico, right? But like I commented earlier, it was the independencia of Mexico, right? The independencia of Nueva España that gave your indigenous people the freedom from oppression. And in the United States, it's the American Constitution that allows you to be speaking on shit freely like the way you are right now.
Mm-hmm.
So So I don't get the bad sentiment, right? I don't being in modern times, right? Like for the ancestors, I get it. They went through that shit. But for us in 2024, living in the comforts of quote unquote America, it's a little disrespectful to both countries, don't you think?
I didn't catch that at the end. It's a little
Yeah,
disrespectful and
like
what?
it really explain it again as far as being the disrespectful part.
Okay, before he does, I'm just gonna answer one of his comments
I'll go
that he
first.
said about Mexico. He said that indigenous people and basically are not being oppressed the way that they did in the past. That is incorrect. Your reason why it's incorrect because I'm pretty sure that you never been to an actual indigenous community where they don't have the luxuries that we have here within the United States. They are being neglected by the Mexican government and have been being neglected by the Mexican government since they became a fucking thing, since it was founded in the 1800s, early 1800s. Mexico is more focused on touristic sides of Mexico, coastal cities, the Yucatec, uh, Acapulco, Sinaloa, Mazatlan. Those are all coastal touristic. And then let's not forget Baja California. Let's not forget that shit. So now that Mexico is funding a lot of these constructions, these touristic sites of Mexico to not only raise their economy, but they're neglecting, like I said, indigenous people. And how is that not a form of oppression? Now, so now psychologically and socially and within Mexico, it is not attractive to be brown as such as myself, or even more brown. I did a video challenging this philosophy, this idealistic on my Instagram, and I put "Viva la raza," right? And I put nothing but Afro Mexicanos in that video. And why do you think I did that?
Uh, if you're asking me, I don't know. Why did you?
Because they fit the narrative of being part of la raza, right? But I'm gonna say that there's many Chicanos or Mexican Americans that will say, nah, they ain't raza because they got African blood in them, but they are Mexicanos. So if they denounce them like, oh, they ain't our people, it's because they're still upholding white supremacy, the ideologies that was left behind by the Spanish colonizer, that were left behind by foreigners, etc. Even the current president that we have now, I don't fucking trust her. She might have been. I don't trust the
She's not the president yet. Not yet.
Yeah, but I don't trust her because she's descendant of outside of the Americas, dog. What the fuck does she? What kind of interest does she have for the indigenous people? What makes her so different from the previous leaders of Mexico?
Oh, well, that's a good one. Risky?
Yeah, yeah, I get all of that, and that's all fine, right? And that's all good for conversation. But earlier you did say que no te metes en pedos, pretty much pedos ajenos, right? When you guys were talking about the different tribes. When Norby was talking
Yeah.
about his tribe, you pretty much dismissed whatever he was saying by you saying that, right? Like, o sea, no me meto en otros tribes. But you're doing that right now because now I don't. Now this is why you shouldn't.
Yeah, I just
make
want to
an ass
quickly
out of
say this.
yourself.
I'm sorry that I'm interrupting, but I just want to quickly say this because you just made the comment of that you hear it a lot of complaint, right? You say it's a lot of complaint. To you, it may be a lot of complaint. Why? Because you're not experiencing it, and because you're not experiencing it, doesn't make it that it's not real. Your life experience is real, and it might not be the hardships of others, and because their hardship is not real to you, doesn't make it not real. I just want to say that. So you may make the comment that I'm complaining about stuff. Yeah, I have to bring these stuffs up because people like you won't bring those up because they're not experiencing those struggles. So that's
Okay,
why you
two.
make it. That's why
Okay,
you're making those
two.
comments.
Hmm.
Okay, okay. Back to my comment. This is why you shouldn't assume, because you'll make an ass out of yourself, right? Earlier, you made the comment that I probably have never been to a pueblo, right? So that's like still indigenous or whatever to see the culture, right? Well, you made right now you made an ass out of yourself twice, because
Yeah,
I was born in Mexico, and I did because I was born in Mexico, and because I did grow up playing in the mud. In our town, it's actually an hill. You know, outhouses, no pavement, none of that shit.
so
Right?
then why? I want to
And
say. So why the change? If you experiences those
by the what?
hardships, then I say, if you experience those hardships, then why the change in the aspect of why ignore those issues? Wouldn't you want to know that those issues the experience that you had no longer happens to others? Isn't that the purpose of life? Trying to better your people, better your family, better the legacy of whatever your family stands for.
Yeah, no. Exactly. That's why your parents
But you see it
migrated
as a
also
complaint,
to California.
but you see it as a complaint. That's what I'm gonna understand. Why the change? That's why I'm asking. Why the change?
Why the change?
Yeah.
Is that you're coming across multiple? So that's why I'm asking. Like, is that what you're asking? Why the change?
Like, why the change of thought of your experience being the struggle that it was, that is still continuing,
No, there is no. No, there is no. No, no, there is
suddenly,
no. No, no,
but, but then
no. There is
suddenly
no
it can
change of
become a
thought. There is
complaint.
no change of thought. From your part, yes. From your part, it's coming across as a complaint, because you're complaining both about living in the United States, and you're complaining about your indigenous ancestors being oppressed in Mexico, right?
Those
That's what you're
continuing.
complaining about. But you yourself don't have it that hard, right? Because
What
now,
was that?
did you say earlier? Not now. Did you say earlier that you were born in the United States? Right? You say you're third
Hmm.
generation Mexicano, right?
Yeah.
So then you're
No,
a U.S.
first
citizen,
Mexican
correct?
American.
First
First
what?
first Mexican American generation. But what does
Or
nationality
are you a U.S.
identity has?
citizen?
What does nationality identity
No,
has to do with my racial background?
no, but I just want that
It's
clarity so I can make my point,
it's
or
like
not, or so I can
it's a
retract it. Are you a U.S. citizen?
hold on. I'm gonna say it's if I was born in Japan, right?
Right? Right?
I might be a nationalistic person from there. I might be a Japanese nationally wise, but mi sangre, mis raíces viene de donde? Just
Anyway,
because
I get that.
I want to say this. Just
But
because I speak English does not fucking make me an English man. Because I speak Spanish does not make me a Spaniard. I want to say that.
you're right. It doesn't.
Because
You're right. No, I speak Spanish,
even though I was
and
born
I'm
in California,
Mexicano. I am mestizo.
then that goes back to
So yeah, I get that. I get that.
believing the ideology of white supremacy.
But what I'm saying is that it's easy to complain from the comfort of, what did you say you were in Santa Barbara, next to the ocean, by the
Yeah, yeah,
mountain? You look
yeah,
like you're inside an apartment with,
yeah,
with aircon, right? So
yeah.
so
How do you think
debating,
how do you think we ended up over here? Because
it's hard. It's hard to answer and ask a question at the same time,
but I just want to say,
right?
how do you think my family ended up here? Do you think because we had the luxuries that we did in our pueblo in Mexico? Or have you ever thought like maybe because life was so shitty in our pueblo and that we know that Mexico wasn't doing shit for us in my pueblo, my grandparents, my parents decided, oh, let's take our chances in the United States, make that great journey. Now, if my life or the life
Exactly.
was if it, but
Exactly.
then that
Let me
goes and then
interrupt you
that
real
goes
quick.
back to you saying that why am I complaining?
Let me interrupt you. Let me interrupt you really quick. So
Mhm.
then, what you just described of your parents' migration, you should be a little bit more grateful for that shit, bro. Because the
I
reason
am,
that
and
they
that's
migrated
why, and
was
that's why I'm speaking my
so
mind.
that you could take advantage of these comforts, right? That's why. Because if not, they would have stayed
Well,
where they were, right?
am I not doing that by speaking up their story, the history of my people, the history? Am I not doing that?
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, you could do that. You could do that, but that doesn't give you. Well, I mean, you can do whatever you want, right? But when somebody that's knowledgeable hears you and you're coming across as a complainer, we're gonna call you out on that, and that's what you're doing right now. You're complaining about Mexico and you're complaining about the United States. Shit doesn't make sense. Now, back to my point. Why do I say that? Because now I would give you more credit if you were in the mountains, right? Or if you were in your pueblo, and I'll give it to you on a live, on the phone, and showing us and telling us, look how we live. Look how we're being oppressed. Well, from you, bro, it looks like you got to put it down good. So what are you complaining about is my question.
Unlike other people that have the tendency to only focus on themselves and their family, I don't know. Not only think about my family and my environment. I also think about my people that are like myself. The story that I see. Like I said previously, I'm always hanging around with paisas, fools that just came over the border. My tia just came over the border illegally about less than a week ago, doggy. You think why you think she came over here? Because she was having a good time in our pueblo? No, she came over here because she wanted to be around family. She wanted to be happy. She wanted to be all that, right? Pero, anyways, those stories
They
that you're
give America
talking.
more respect, no way?
Hold on, mother flower. Those stories are never heard. Those stories are never heard.
El que se enoja pierde, güey. El que se enoja pierde.
Wait. What I want to know, risky business, is how the hell do you relate playing in the mud with indigenous people? Because that's how you started off. I played in the mud with the other kids in the pueblo. What the hell does that have to do with indigenous people?
Like I said, if he was referring to the culture, right? To like,
how is playing in the mud the culture?
Okay. So do you want me to answer or you want me to?
Yes,
The first question or the second question? Which one do you
I want you to clarify how you connect playing in the mud with indigenous culture.
Right. But if you interrupt me,
now go ahead. Go ahead.
Rebuttal,
go ahead.
Right. Because I asked at the same time that I said that, I asked, now are you referring to the culture? Now, yes, right? We come from an ejido, right? My neighbor, which was my aunt, still had a mud house. So how the fuck is that not?
A mud house or adobe?
Adobe, way. It's adobe.
Mud. Adobe.
I'm pretty sure it's adobe.
Now. Okay, so, right, with an outhouse. In my ejido, yeah, there was electricity, right? Yes, there was. But whoever had water, you had to fucking have a well and pump that motherfucker, take 5-gallon buckets to take a shower. Now, if you wanted warm water, you were going to have to fucking heat up water, right, in a bandeja and throw that warm water into that bucket and take a warm shower. If not, you're taking a cold shower. So how the fuck are you going to tell me that I did it? Like I said earlier, when you make an assumption, you make an ass out of yourself. So that's 3 times.
All right. Now, you still haven't clarified how playing in the mud. Is that what you meant? You meant playing in you meant playing in the mud as the house? Is that what you meant?
Come on, Marvin.
No. We're gonna clarify this because you said I used to play in the mud. You said it in Spanish. But how do you connect that with indigenous people?
I just explained the culture to you. That if it's on a culture level, if it's the same shit, right?
I want to ask you.
Living without the comforts that both of you guys are living right now, right? You guys are complaining about it. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, in what
I
aspect?
don't think that's
I
fair
What
want
to do that. And
I want to just say this real quick, bro. Which culture?
okay,
Because the Zapotec culture is different from the Nahua culture. The Purepecha culture is different from the Maya culture. The Yaqui culture
that's
is
true.
different from all. Which culture are you speaking of?
Yeah,
the Chichimeca, because we come from the Chichimeca
Chimecas.
culture tribe. The people you were talking about earlier. Now you had it wrong. You said that the Chichimeca were from the south of Mexico. You're wrong. Let me correct you. They're from the northern part of now what is Mexico, of the frontera.
I never said South.
Well, it's recorded, so when you go back and look at this live, you're gonna
Mhm.
see that.
Okay.
Hey, risky business. Okay, all right. So, where exactly are you hearing the complaints?
On everything, bro.
What is it
You know
about
what
what
you guys
me?
found?
What is it about what me and him talked about that you took as a complaint?
Hmm.
Well,
People are
the
saying
way
next
that you
call
guys
North.
are speaking just well, the way that you're just talking about Mexico, right, and about the oppression and all of that. Now, all of that is history, right?
Look,
All of that is
I
history.
just
All
want
of
to
that
say
is
this to
fine.
you.
But
If I hurt your feelings for saying the
no,
truth
you
about
didn't. Hell
Mexico,
no. Yeah.
because somehow you have a national pride. I have a national pride of Mexico. You know,
I
I do
do, bro.
too.
I'm not gonna
But
lie. I do.
I
Hell yeah. I say Mexico first all the fucking time. I'm a truck driver, bro. I truck drive in 48 states. Everywhere
uh,
I go, I
yeah,
got my
that's
fucking
cool. That's
Mexican
cool.
shit
That's
on me.
cool.
And you know why I
And
do that?
get
And
your
you know
money.
why I
You
do
know.
that? Because I like to see the stares. I like to see the ugly stares that I get from these weirdos, and it makes me laugh. And I'm waiting for a motherfucker just to come across and
Yeah,
say
Fucking
something
risky.
so I can jump
that's
on his ass the way that I'm jumping on y'all motherfuckers tonight.
no. Yeah, it's cool. You know, it's cool. You know what I mean. Do your thing. But
Fucking
I
risky.
I
Oh,
I
nah, he already hanged up. Fucking
I,
risky.
I,
He hanged up
I
already.
just wanted to tell him, like, that's cool, that's commendable, get your shit,
Yeah.
you know.
Nah, he
Uh
hanged up because he knows I was about to go in on him. That's why you hanged up, risky. You know I was gonna go in on you, and you
nah,
hanged up. You
nah,
ran
nah,
away.
nah. Nah, it's cool, dog. I don't have problems with people that approach me in that manner,
Yeah.
because I used to be like-minded, I used to be
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
very ignorante,
Yeah.
my perception of the world was fucking fooled by nationalistic ideas.
Yeah.
It's a
No, I
beautiful
got yeah.
it's a beautiful thought, a wishful thought. It's beautiful about unity,
Yeah.
but there's no unity, bro.
I was
Because
like that. I was
if there
like that
was
too. I was
if
at
there
certain
is
point.
if we are genuinely united, then colorism, classism, racism wouldn't exist in Mexico.
Mm,
If we were genuinely united
yeah. Well,
here
that's exactly what.
here in the United States, if we were genuinely united, there wouldn't be brown on brown crime. There
Mm,
wouldn't be all these problems that we have amongst ourselves,
yeah.
you know, being
Yeah.
Mexican American or whatever.
Yeah.
We are not united. We
Well, that's because that's how it's supposed to be. That's how they made it to be. They made sure that we didn't unite. They made sure to break us apart. They made sure to get rid of our leaders. They made sure to weaken us wherever they can.
Mhm,
But for the most part, what I wanted to, what where I was gonna get at risky business was that those weren't complaints that we were making. We were just stating facts, and facts are not a complaint. Facts are facts. That's all they are.
mhm,
Whether you might see them negatively in your perspective, at the end of the day, what me and him talked about were facts. We didn't make this up. We weren't giving our opinions. We were stating factual things that were happening in Mexico and that are happening here. If that sounds like a complaint to you, but that probably because you have some sort of guilt towards it, or you feel maybe at fault, or because you can't do much about it. But
mhm,
at the end of the day, what we talked about was facts. That's all it was, just facts. It wasn't your opinion, it wasn't my opinion. These were factual things that are happening. They may come off as complaint to risky business, but at the end of the day, they're just facts that we are stating. It's like it's like if we just said, well, the sky was black, and then
Tarumara, but I just wanted to answer that question right there. If I'm not mistaken, I think that Tarumara is part of the Uda Aztecan, but I took that as a grain of salt. Uh, but yeah, there's some similarities to the Nahuatl language of Central Mexico.
Yes, thank you. The super chat. You're right. Chris from Arizona, thank you for $5. And his
Yeah.
question was, I'm trying to find out more about my people's language. If you could help me
You know,
there,
I would love, I
I don't
would,
want to try.
if I was able to have, if I had that type of knowledge, for every indigenous group out there, I would have I would point you to the right direction, But
Maybe,
I,
maybe
I'm
one
only,
day we
I only emphasize on Central Mexico, Nahua people.
maybe one day we'll use AI to do that for us. We got to use it for something. If
Yeah.
we can use it for
I mean,
that, fuck it.
we're using the internet to be able to connect with other indigenous people from all over the Americas. Unfortunately, there's a language barrier between the Portugal speaking Amazon indigenous groups,
Yeah.
but
But with
uh,
technology, that's gonna change, and that's what I love about technology. That even though some people might see it as a bad thing, especially with its AI stuff, in reality, for us indigenous brown people, this will be the way for us to eventually all connect to each other. Because sooner or later, right now it's just you and me, two guys from California.
mhm.
Sooner or later, people are going to see another square with some guy in Bolivia, some guy in Ecuador, some guy from El Salvador, some guy from Guatemala, some guy from
Yeah,
Brazil.
I always show love to people from El Salvador,
Yeah,
specifically the Nahuatl
yeah.
people out there. For those that don't know, those people were sent from Central Mexico to what is now known as El Salvador. Uh, this is known because the Spanish people actually did an acquisition towards what is Central America, and the Tlaxcala people that were assisting the Spanish people, they the ones that named uh, those people Nahuapipil. It changed over time, but it's basically describing that their Nahuatl is baby talk, like like how a baby would talk. So
Ah,
that's what Nahuapipil means, um, because their Nahuatl is slightly different from the one from Central Mexico. But
that
yeah,
way.
I show a lot of love to El Salvador. Those Nahuatl speaking people out there, people that descend from there, because I know and I see them as my people from
Yeah.
Central Mexico.
Hey, I do too, man. I love pupusas over there. I love their food. Their food is really good. I
Hmm.
mean, as far as their food, and all the women somehow, some way know how to dance. I don't know why. But aside from that, man, I mean, shoot, we went through it a lot. We talked a lot. I think we definitely covered a lot of things, which I love because
Oh,
we
another
went.
thing too, I want to say that Cuauhtemoc didn't die in Mexico. Cuauhtemoc died in Salvador or Honduras, and
What?
his body is still there and not in Mexico.
What? That's
Just
a
want
good
to say,
flag right there.
if he died there, like that should tell you
You
that.
know what, bro? It's crazy because it might not seem like it, but we definitely spread our seed all over this place. Because you know why?
Algo,
Because
because I mean,
in the Philippines, they have Nahuatl language.
I don't know about that one, but I know that they got influenced by
Yeah,
Spanish colonizers, and I know that Tlaxcala warriors stayed in the Philippines, so I know that some of them have
they have
Mesoamerican heritage.
they have babies.
So that is a true thing.
Yeah, it
But
is. There's probably Mexica people that are, well, descendants in the Philippines.
yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
I wouldn't doubt it either. And then even in the Polynesian islands, there are literally Polynesians that have Incan blood in them.
And we don't got any more colors or what, dog?
I don't know. That's it. Everybody's shy tonight. Everybody's shy
Why?
tonight.
Don't be intimidated.
The
Just
number's up there if you guys want to call. But as far as that, bro, I mean, we went what, like 2.5 hours? I gotta say that's pretty damn good. I think had we done the calls earlier, because we did it pretty late.
I don't even know how many people are watching, dog.
There's like 72 people. Thank you to all the 72 people. Please hit the likes on both of our channels. And this is cool because this is the first time I've actually used this feature where I could be live on my channel while at the same time you're live on your channel. All right, here we go.
Yeah,
Caller, your name and where you calling from?
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Hey.
Am I on the thing?
Yes, you are.
yeah.
Yo, hello. Hello, everybody. I got a couple questions.
Shoot.
All right. So, what would you say that the cultural differences are between Mexica people, the native people of Mexico, and the Northern American native people?
That's a good one.
Not all. There's some similarities, but not very much. And the reason why is because in Mesoamerica, not saying that the indigenous people from up here didn't got to the agricultural point and within their civilization, but in Mesoamerica, we were definitely quote unquote like really balls deep in agricultural methods and techniques and etc. Corn comes from fucking Mesoamerica. If I'm not mistaken, I think it derives from what is now known as Oaxaca, but
Yes,
and then
sir.
that should just spread it all over the Americas. But for the most part, United States territory is what is now known as United States territory is very vast in comparison to Mexico, modern day Mexico. That meaning that and there was a lot of nomadic tribes in the United States. So their way of life is different from the way of life that it was in Mesoamerica. And though we have some things in common, we also have a lot of differences. Yeah, I don't know if that answers your question.
No, that definitely that helps. I got my mom's side is Mexican mestizo, but my dad he's Paiute, which is I'm not sure how to pronounce it.
I've heard of I think I've heard of that before.
Yeah, we're from the Southern California, Nevada area, East California, West Nevada.
Yeah. I want to say that I've heard of that that name.
Yeah, I believe the Paiute people are also they were in the Las Vegas area too, like Clark County.
Yeah.
Something
So
like that.
I want to say the reason why I want to say the reason why Mesoamerica existed is because obviously Mexico's southern part of it and central part of it gets narrow and narrow. Now you're gonna have a cluster of indigenous groups that were migrating meet up with one another, and some groups were more territorial than others. So they're like, "Fuck, we can't even cross this river because the neighboring indigenous group is gonna tear us up. We don't have no choice, but we have to settle here and try to figure out how to survive here." So that's how the agricultural development happened more sooner in Mexico than it did in the Amazon. The Amazon was Amazon in South America is a whole different ball game, but for the most part in Mexico, it's just in that region, the Yucatec, and there's a lot of fucking pyramids because a lot of indigenous people couldn't migrate anymore because there was already settled indigenous groups that were not going to allow foreign indigenous groups. Now, you can't apply that in the United States or in Canada because it's a vast, wide land.
Yeah.
So the way of lifestyle was nomadic primarily. So that's why they weren't as of, not saying that there weren't like stupid people or anything like that. They weren't at par with Mesoamerica.
Who knows?
Yeah, many and I noticed specifically in South America, there's a lot more relics from the indigenous people there. Like we still have intact pyramids, we still have intact art, we still have intact
Yeah,
cultural clothing as well.
yeah. I also want to say
But
this,
up
and
here in
mhm.
America, there's a lot of stuff got wiped out. A lot of stuff got wiped out. Left like
That's
damn
what I
near
want to
no
say.
trace of specific people.
Yeah, because they weren't quite like at par. And the reason here's another example. Uh, what is now known as like Peru and Chile and all that stuff, and the mountain regions of those areas, the Incas, they 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 lived up in the mountains, like narrow locations, and what they had to do, they had to learn quick about agricultural stuff because they were in narrow areas and they
Yeah.
weren't able to migrate. So because of these narrow areas or narrow or clustered areas within the Americas, that's why the indigenous groups were more advanced than those of other places that weren't like clustered. Like some of these nomadic groups wouldn't even meet up with other nomadic groups for a very long time,
Mm.
because they were all moving. But yeah, if you notice that, you'll see the advancements and these locations that were narrow in comparison to places that were vast and wide, like the Amazon and the plains of United States, etc.
How would you say that indigeneity? How would you say indigeneity differs in America versus how it acts in Mexico?
Mexico acknowledges that there's indigenous people, but they don't give them rights. They don't even at all. They know they have indigenous people. In the United States, on the other hand, they do acknowledge these indigenous groups
Oh,
and they
oh,
give them, and
reservations and
yeah,
stuff.
to me, reservations is a bit of like a luxury in comparison to people from Latin America. Now, I know that people that are in reservations may not feel that way,
Mm.
but at least you got to say that this is your land. While in Mexico, and there's no such thing. There might be some communities that are what's that word? Sovereign, but they may act sovereign,
Yeah.
but they don't have sovereignty.
Mm.
Yeah, I, I would argue that most reservations are not where the people originally inhabited. Most of them was just, especially when it comes to the Trail of Tears, they took them from the east and they put them in the Midwest and they put them in the West. So a lot of
Yeah, like
reservations
displacements.
from, and some of these
Yeah,
tribes are very nomadic as well.
yeah,
Like my tribe, the Paiute people, were very nomadic.
yeah. Most indigenous groups in the United States were.
Well, I want to say
Uh,
maybe that's because I feel like the tribes up here in this, what you would say the states, they were very more in tune with with the way nature is. You know, they would see that the animals would migrate depending on the season. Maybe in a way they adapted that to their own way of being nomads, that they will travel with them because wherever they go, obviously there's going to be some type of food, some sort of nourishment. That's why they migrate. That's why they move around. That's why they don't stay in one place because they know it's going to get really cold right there. So they're going to go wherever a herd of bisons might go, or ducks fly south. They'll go wherever they go because they know they're gonna go somewhere warm because they know it's gonna get cold north. I don't know. That's my
you're right,
True, true.
because that's a natural human instinct of ours. Like
yeah.
like humanity wise, that's not just an indigenous thing. That's just a humanity thing. The early people, the early Homo sapiens learned what, by watching animals eat certain plants or you know migrations and stuff like that. That's how
Yeah.
we learned from our environment. But it's, we were definitely a little bit
Probably.
behind, based on the old world.
Mm. All right, man. Does that answer most of your questions?
Yeah. For the most part,
Great, great.
I would. Hold up. I had something else. Wait. Which dude am I speaking to? Am I speaking to the dude on the right or the dude on the left?
Well, the guy that has Maria Sabina, that's gonna be me. And the guy says warrior in his jacket, that's gonna be
Kiyahuitl.
yeah, we
I
had a
low
hard
key.
time with that name.
Or rain. If you can't pronounce it, it's just rain. Rain.
I say Yawi, but
Kiyahuitl.
Yawi.
Yeah, you could just say kiyawi.
I'm saying
Kiyawi is the
rain.
verbing of rain.
Oh,
Kiyahuitl is the
okay.
noun.
That's good to know. I'm gonna remember that. I'm sorry.
Wait. Am I talking to both of them?
You're talking to both of us at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. What does I forget. I don't speak Nahuatl, so I don't know how to pronounce your. What does your name mean?
It means rain.
Ki. Okay. How you pronounce that? Kia.
Kiyahuitl.
Beautiful. I'm trying to. Do you have any advice for because I know where I come from on my dad's side, but for like a Mexican person who has indigenous roots, do you have any advice for somebody connecting to that side, like a mestizo person?
I mean, trying to find out as much as family history that from your elders,
Yeah.
and
That's always
try
good.
to do a family genealogy, or figure out where your family comes from. A lot of the records were kept by since you live in the southern western parts of and especially in California, these missions
Oh,
they
hell no.
kept a lot of records of
Oh,
indigenous people indoctrinating. So
yep. These
you'll be
missions were horrible, man.
it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but the work is worth it because you obviously get to know your true identity than these false identities that are given to us now.
Yeah.
Would you say that there are different? Would you say that the mestizo person and the indigenous person are on like a different racial hierarchy, as in they're treated different? They have
Yeah,
different
hell
culture?
yeah. Mestizo people were treated better than the indigenous people that were full blooded. But they were definitely under out of white Spanish colonizers.
Yeah.
And in fact, accepting an identity like mestizo, it's accepting that Spanish people are above you, and I don't identify as that. So
Exactly. That's why
yeah,
I have my own
fuck
gripes
that word.
when it comes
Yeah.
to Mexican people, because damn near every Mexican person is a native, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's where you come from,
I would like
and
to
you're
think
still
so.
living on these lands.
Yeah, I would definitely like to think so. But you know why we guys say that? Because I saw this stupid ass video that says almost 90% of the Mexican population is of Spanish descent. The fuck?
Yeah, nah.
90%.
Mexico is diverse as much as the
The
United States is.
90% being Spanish descent. What the fuck? And they only leave 10% of indigenous people. What kind of shit is that?
Yeah. And I'm not. I'm one of those people that's whatever you're more of, that's who you are. You know. So I'm 3/4 native Indigena. I do have some mixture in me, but I don't connect to that. I can't connect to that. Now we're gonna talk a little bit of. We're gonna talk a little bit about like colorism and race and classism here. So I've seen a lot of people that are like white passing or pretty much darn near white, trying to identify with their 15% indigenous blood or however amount that is very little, but they're primarily white. To me, fuck, I just lost my chain of thought. To me, I see that as a privilege, right? That white people can identify with their native side, whatever, with that minuscule native side of them, But when I'm an indigenous person, I'm mixed, right? I have white blood in me. I not very much, but I have white blood. But let's say if I wanted to identify as white and no longer and denounce my indigenous side, how come I'm not given the luxury to be seen as a white person or as a white man, but a white man can have the luxury to identify as indigenous?
Yeah.
That's the blood quantum is a very complex
Oh, it definitely
concept,
is.
especially when you apply it to like Southern America and Central America. It's that's why I say for the most part indigeneity is different. It's different. It's perceived different in North America and Canada rather than it is in Mexico and more south.
Yeah.
But the blood quantum, I have my own issues with it. But if we are using the blood quantum logic, then most Mexicans are half native.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I'm 3/4. I only got like little bit of not even like not even a 1/4 of a white, but I do have some white in me. But yeah, it's
Which tends to be the case.
that's definitely a touchy subject because I know that some indigenous groups were hit harder with colonialism, and they had no choice but to assimilate or to adapt to their environment. So that's where the mixture started to occur harder in those communities. But for those that were hit hard by by colonialism like that, I'm not speaking of that. I'm not speaking about you. I'm speaking about those that are just like suddenly like finding out that they're native.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it really is like a process of finding out that you're native for a lot of mestizo people too. Because
what's crazy too,
I don't know. To me, I grew up in America, and most of the Mexicans I know are Mexican American. But to me, they never mention anything about their indigenous ancestry. They never mention anything. I've seen motherfuckers who look just like fucking Geronimo.
Yeah. No,
and like hating their skin.
Brainwashing, bro. Like, what do you like? Some people just not even brainwashing. It's because at some point of one of their family members was just like, I'm not going to teach my native language to my children anymore. And then it just keeps on continuing that way and that way. And then it's just eventually their ethnic background is forgotten and lost, but it doesn't take away that they're racially indigenous, but ethnically they might not be because they got indoctrinated to a national identity. So yeah, it's a diaspora of people like that out there that they will never find out what they are.
Yeah.
Because of colonialism. And I feel for those people, but just to identify that they're racially native still has a significance, even regardless if they can't find their people or who they are or who they retain to. But it's better to just not appropriate indigenous communities because not only you're hijacking, but you're also taking the voice of actual indigenous people that you are appropriating. The voices.
Yeah.
So it kind of is a paradox because, racially, most Hispanic people are, half indigenous, half Spanish or Portuguese. But because of colonialism, it was so good and thorough at its job that it had completely eliminated people and had completely eliminated these people and forced them into this line of thinking and assimilation to the culture to where they don't even identify that, hey, my skin is brown and my nose is big and hooked and my hair is coarse and straight. We have these straight.
I got a cousin like that, man. I'm so fucking jealous of his hair, man. I'm like, damn, fool, I wish I had your shit. But yeah, like his shit is porcupine, like like fucking pelo bien grueso, güey, like,
Oh shit.
Yeah, my cousin Yeah, he definitely got blessed by the ancestors.
There you go. All right.
I was just saying in the chat too. I said, the dude on the right, you look like my dad, bruh.
The dude on the right, the
Good.
guy, what's he wearing? Is he wearing the glasses or no glasses?
The dude with the long hair.
Okay, that's
Because I am your son.
hey.
No.
What? You
I,
good? You
well,
told
I
you
said that
gotta mess
backward.
that
I said
up.
that
Okay.
You
backward.
messed
Huh?
that. What you said it backwards? Yeah.
Because I am your dad. Son.
No, that's it's
Just
the
messing with you, man.
indigenous blood is very, very strong.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I be seeing some Diné people that are obviously known as Navajo. Some of these motherfuckers be looking like family. I'm like, Theo, uncle, is that you?
Hey, that's why they got a rule over
Exactly.
there. Don't date anybody in your pueblo.
Yeah, yeah. It's just a trip, man. It's just definitely a trip. We're not much
Yeah,
that we're
it's
we're
it's
not very much
it's
different.
like that on the reservation too.
Even the
Yeah.
Chumash people out here, I'm like, damn fool, you sure you're not Mexican? But I mean, when I say that is out of ignorance, but it's just trying to say that we look
Yeah.
like we're people of the
But
same people.
caller, we're gonna let you go, so maybe we could get to one more call.
All right.
All
let
right,
me just say one more thing.
go
One
for
more
it.
thing. This whole side of the world, from Alaska, Canada, America, Central America, South America, the islands, all of these people were one people.
Hey,
We're native. We're native to
Yeah,
this part of the world,
hey,
yeah, I agree.
and we
Strongly
need these
agree.
people to, and we need everybody who comes from this descent to decolonialize themselves, their mentality,
mm,
see where you
Yeah,
really come from.
yeah,
Even though
you
they've
know,
tried hundreds of years to get rid of you,
yep,
you
yeah,
can do
I
your
you
best
know, I
to
got a lot of
identify
love
with it.
for I got a
Can't look
lot
at
of
them racist.
definitely.
I got a lot of love for the Taino people too. The Arawakan. That shit tripped me out when I found out that they had the same instrument as my ancestors did. The Teposnantli, which is like a log drum. I think I might have mispronounced it, but it's a log drum, and the Taino people had the same instrument. And one another thing too that tripped me out is that they also had a maquili, which is the obsidian bat sword. They had also a variation of that in their
Yeah,
community. And I'm like, I was just tripping out on this shit. I was like, what the like these fools are thousands of miles away from Central Mexico, Mesoamerica, whatever, but somehow they have some similarities with things.
yeah. Well, I'm sure we had cell phones back
Mm.
in the day. Some sort of
No,
device to
man,
communicate with each other.
not even.
They
Nah,
now
that is
disappeared.
that only proves that there's migration, trades,
Yeah,
you know.
I'm
So
sure.
that's
I'm
only
sure.
proving that. And I
All
know
right,
the languages.
caller. Any
Mhm.
more words you want to leave with us?
No, I just wanted to end on that sentiment.
Great.
Um, and it bugs me that I see so many of my people with the same traits as me, with the same skin as me, with the same ancestry as me,
Mm,
and they just are okay with just
Not,
continuing and not even digging about themselves.
definitely.
yeah, it's a sad. It's sad to
White
see. I
man
see
did a
that.
number.
Mm,
The white man did
Hmm.
a number on us.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. With the help of the
Most
angels.
definitely, and it's sad.
Yep. All right, man. Well, thanks for calling, man, and appreciate you, man. Have a good night. All right.
All right, yeah. All right, you guys have a good night.
That's a good call right there, man. You know what? I
Yeah, it
want to
was
tell you
cool.
something. I want to point this out. You know how they want to say that people used to play that game with their hips? All right, hold on, we got another caller.
About
Caller,
courtyard.
your name and where you calling from?
Hello, Norbies.
Is this
This
Brad
is
Pitbull?
Brad Pitbull.
Ah,
This is
shit.
Brad Pitbull.
Hell yeah. What's up, Brad Pitbull? Where you calling from today?
You're from the city of Atlantis,
Hey,
long forgotten.
I think
But
that was one of ours.
No,
I
yes,
could be
mames,
mistaken.
nah.
What's up,
Atlantis
man?
don't have
What's up,
nothing to
Brad
do with
Pitbull?
with this side of the world, huh?
What's up, Brad Pitbull? What do you want to talk about tonight? Brad?
Pitt.
Ooh.
He bounced, or what is that? What
No,
happened?
he's still there. Brad, did you put it on Bluetooth? Take off the Bluetooth. Or unmute yourself. Ah, no, it clicked. It clicked. Okay, maybe he's calling. Okay, well. Caller, your name and where you calling from?
Hello?
Yes. You're on with us.
How's it going, fellas?
Good, good. How are you doing tonight?
Pretty good. I have a couple of questions for you guys. My name's Chris from Arizona.
Hey, Chris.
My question is, have you guys ever heard of Tamancha?
What was that?
Have you guys ever heard of Tamancha?
Tamocha.
No,
I'm
he's
not
I think he
familiar
said
with that.
Camoncha.
Tamocha.
Camoncha, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I want to say no. I'm unaware of that.
Kind of like Comanche. Isn't that a thing? Comanche?
Comanche, yeah.
Comanche,
It,
right?
it,
Comancha.
it goes back to
I never heard of that. For me.
it goes back to like the Adam and Eve story, but in Mesoamerica. It was like the beginning, like of Adam and Eve and stuff like that.
Well, if it's in Arizona, it's
Creation.
not. If it's in Arizona, it's not Mesoamerican. Mesoamerica starts from.
No, it goes back to Mesoamerica. It started in Mesoamerica.
Oh,
And
okay,
then
okay,
migrate.
okay.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I thought you were saying that like Arizona was Mesoamerica, but now I think they're like arid Americans or some shit like that. But yeah, for those that don't know, Mesoamerica starts from Central Mexico all the way to Nicaragua, I believe, or Costa
Damn.
Rica.
That far
Yeah,
down, huh?
Yeah.
yeah. So
Uh,
all that
And I was
is
gonna ask you
Mesoamerica.
about the other things like they find in all over the U.S. You know, there's like a bunch of like in Florida they have pyramids, in Mississippi, all the way to Wyoming. They show like all these cultures that were expanding and they were big, and once the colonizers came and started tearing everything apart and tearing everything down, and
yeah.
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 Sometimes I get sad about that. Just to uh, imagine what could have occurred in Mesoamerica. I don't think the Mexicas, even though I descend from them, uh, would have continued to, I guess, rule Central Mexico. I think eventually they would have fell, but I believe the language would have still existed. Um, yeah, I just don't know. I wish I knew what life could have been if,
Yeah.
if
Yeah,
these
it's funny.
circumstances never occurred.
Somebody actually asked me, "Do you think Mexico would have been better if it was never colonized?" And I said with confidence, yes, it would 100% be a lot better than what it is now.
Yeah, I see a
I,
lot of people writing on the comment section like to address the 12 tribes of Israelis. I don't believe in that shit, just so you know, doggy.
I don't have enough
well,
information to talk about that.
like the stuff with the 12 tribes. I heard when
Yeah,
the
yeah. I
what's
think
this,
I've stated in the
the
past,
conquistadors.
previously, earlier, I should say, that I don't believe in anything that is foreign. So I don't believe in Israelites. I don't believe in none of that stuff. I don't even believe in the devil. I don't
Yeah,
believe in none of that.
What,
Uh,
you don't believe in an angel that got
no,
punished
I don't
and turned
believe in no
evil?
angels. I
And
don't believe in none of that, bro. I denounce that shit, dog.
what about
And the
giants?
crazy, and the
What
crazy,
about giants? What about
I bel
giants?
if my ancestor speaks of it, then I have to believe it.
All right, there. All right, all right.
You know. But for the most part, yeah, I don't believe in none of that stuff. I
Hmm.
don't. I think it's foolery to believe that something that is foreign is more superior than your ancestors' philosophy or view and perception to the world. I think you're a coward
yeah,
if you rather believe that than what your people were talking about. But that's just me.
yeah,
Everybody to each their own. Everybody can live their life how they choose to be, but not just because I say something that might be hurtful to you doesn't mean that it's a lie or whatever. It's just that you're not ready to accept the truth.
Yeah.
Like that shit's foreign. What makes it more
Damn,
yeah.
some Matrix shit.
no?
Yeah, you got to choose the red pill or
Well,
the blue pill.
like me, like I've dabbled into that a little bit, and they were saying when the conquistadors came, there was a guy named Diego Duran. He was a friar, and he said that everything that he read about in the Bible and stuff, like they looked at the Mexicas the way they were so close to the Hebrewites that they had read about that it must have been the devil's teaching because we were so holy and things that we upheld and traditions and things of those sorts.
Yeah. Uh, it's kind of difficult to say,
And,
all that.
and
But
then the story of
I
Mashiach,
just talk about.
people
But I
believe.
wouldn't be surprised that the white man has lied, aka the Spanish person. Uh,
You're
I
who
want to
are now
say,
European American.
yeah, European American, or the Spanish conquistadors and all that shit.
Yeah.
They try to say that like the Virgin Mary like fucking appeared in Mexico and all this bullshit. How the fuck did it appear when like Cortez brought that shit? And how do
Mm.
I know that he brought this shit? Because the flag that he was rocking, it actually showed fucking the Virgin,
Oh, look at that!
The Virgin Mary.
Look at that!
This is Hernan Cortez's flag.
I did not
And
know that. I didn't know that was Cortez
so
flag.
yeah, so then another thing too, that being said, people that believe in like Tonantzin and all this bullshit, that is it's like Hernan Cortez like trying to assimilate people to believe in Catholicism.
Yeah,
So
bro, I didn't know that was his flag.
that was his
That's
flag.
fucking crazy. That it looks exactly like the Virgin Mary's.
Cause yeah, it is.
Holy
So
shit!
so the Virgin Mary to the Spanish was like something significant, because they were also conquered, for like 800 plus years or some shit like that,
Yeah,
and they hid the Virgin Mary from their conquerors, from the Moors and all that shit.
yeah,
They hid that shit.
yeah.
So
Well,
when
yeah,
so when they were able to actually, I guess, talk about her or talk about that, they brought it to the Americas.
yeah. You know,
So, like, my question to you is like, what about like Huichne Lopochli?
Huitzilopochtli?
Yeah,
Huitzilopochtli was an actual man, however you want to look at it. So there's a there's two stories onto how it all occurred, and I'm vaguely remember it precisely, but I'm going to say that Huitzilopochtli came from Sichtli, or no, Mesistli, which was an indigenous person that was born in the Magay fields, and this Mesistli was Huitzilopochtli, but it was like kind of like changed over time, but it was the same person. So he started to hear a bird chirp, "Tiwi, tiwi, tiwi, tiwi," uh, and this bird was saying this word allegedly. He was just probably just like, damn, that sounds like the word "tiwi," right? So Mesihli, being a predominant figure in his tribe, was like, "Yo, I got a message from the creators. They fucking said to go away, to like leave this area, to migrate." So because of this bird that was chirping tiwi, uh, that indigenous group migrated to eventually to Central Mexico. But and it goes from Mesihli, but then they also named them Huitzilopochtli. But it's just because it's just the same story, but it was told differently from different times.
but like even so, I'm asking like even about his birth. You don't believe in his the way he was born or anything?
Do I believe in that? What my ancestors say about him?
About like his birth.
About the bird? What? Say that again.
birth, the way he was born.
Oh, he was born in within the Magay field. There was a lot of it, and he was cribbed inside of a Magay. So, and he was born, and when that was happening, there was a hare. So, Sihli in Nahuatl means fucking a jackrabbit, if that. And then Met means Magay. So they compounded these words and said Mesihli. That some linguistic people think that's where the Meshikatl name comes from Mesixtli, but because somehow the C got corrupted and then turned into the she, so it's Mexicatl.
Mm.
But yeah, that could be a possibility.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's crazy. Because
well, that's interesting.
yeah, definitely. We actually use maguey for also that. That's the word we use also to refer to that plant.
Uh,
Yeah.
And like I heard you talking about like the native people. So, like I talked to a lot of Apaches, and I talked to a lot of Navajos,
Hmm.
and I've asked them questions, and they've said that like yeah, like we're relatives, we're ancestors. And like you were saying about the Dene, and like oh, I see some people, and they look like they could be related to us, or be my cousin or something.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's how I see them. I'm like, damn, fool, like, you sure you we ain't family, you know? But
Yeah,
yeah, that's how
Yeah.
that's how I see it.
yeah, because I called in about the Taramara tribe earlier. While I sent
Oh
the super
yeah, the
chat.
Tarahumara. Yeah, like I said, I think to talk about that, the Tarahumara was mentioned in the migration of the quote unquote Aztecs migrating to Central Mexico. They actually went through Tarahumara territory, and Tarahumara territory is in this. I think like Sonora, Durango. I may be wrong, but in the northern western parts of
Yeah,
Mexico. And if that is true, that means that quote unquote the Aztecs came from possibly the region of Arizona, or somewhere around that location, into Tarahumara territory. And like I said, I have to believe they're Uru Aztecan. So, and then all of western parts of
yeah.
Mexico is Uru Aztecan primarily. Um, I don't think the Uru Aztecan reached in California, but yeah, that's all I really kind of know about that.
Yeah, 'cause, like when you look at the Uru Aztecan family, that's a big branch right there, bro.
Yeah,
There's a lot of
yeah,
tribes.
it's pretty big. Uh, Also I don't even know how to pronounce this family tree is Manyanga, or some shit. I don't even know how to say it. That's where the
Right.
Zapotec language is part of, and the Chichimeca are part of that as well. Uh, and yeah, it's just it's a trip, man.
Oh yeah.
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 And like a lot of people get like this conception like the Mayans and Aztecs didn't coexist at the same time. Did they or
Maya,
did they not?
Maya existed when the Mexicas were around.
I
They
mean,
still exist.
I think all
They
of us
still
were
exist
around.
today.
Yeah, they're all of us. Yeah,
They
they still
still
exist
exist
today.
today. So yeah, but
Yeah.
if you were referencing the classical period of the Maya, the Aztecs or the Mexicas did not exist. And then when I mean
Yeah.
classical Maya is when they had built fucking crazy ass amount of pyramids and everything. But yeah, yeah, the Mayas existed when the Mexicas existed.
So
But they
I have a couple more questions. I got one for Norby and I got one for you.
Go for it, man.
So do you think there's actually like a connection between Egypt and how should I say it? The maybe the Mayans or Aztecs?
Uh oh yeah,
uh,
definitely. I this is for me, right? Everybody got
It's for
yeah,
both
answer,
of you.
answer.
Whoever wants to answer
And
it.
then I'll give
Yeah.
my opinion.
All right. For me, this is what I tell people. Just like this country and other countries have embassies, right? Every country has an
Yeah.
embassy at somewhere. What's to say that we didn't have our own embassies because clearly we had the ability to travel on sea. We were able to do that. There are ships that were found on these lands. We definitely had that capability. What's the how much is it a coincidence that all the animals that represent Egyptian gods come from here?
Yeah.
All you look up every single animal from those Egyptian god pantheons, all those animals reside here in these lands. That's not a coincidence. That god of death that they have is not a jackal. There are no black jackals that look like that. There's a dog
Yeah.
here that definitely looks like that. Not only that, but it's
Yeah,
also
exactly.
represented in the same manner.
Squinkly.
Anubis.
Yeah.
Anubis is represented as the god that takes you on your course
In the
afterlife.
world. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas the Cholo here does the exact same thing. That can't be a coincidence. And even the guy the god that looks like an anteater, that comes from here. A lot of the gods that are from there are here. When you look, even when you look at that guy with the green face, all you'll find
Looks
in
like Talak.
yeah, every place that we have ruins here, you will find a jaded mask, green masks. So clearly we were using green masks here. A lot of things that are
Yeah.
our Egyptian culture seems to oddly enough coincide with this land. Not only that, and this is why I want to say that, and for me, there are certain parts in the Bible that are connected to us in a sense where a lot of the stories that they wrote into the Bible actually came from Egyptian stories. They're by
Yeah.
Egyptians technique, because even in Egyptian history, they would say that the original Egyptians disappeared. They left Egypt.
Yeah.
They weren't there. The people that were there at the end, those weren't the real Egyptians. They were just the people that took over the pyramids.
Yeah.
They tried to do exactly what the old Egyptians could do, but they couldn't. They failed miserably. So they gave it up. But
Hey, Novis,
yes.
do you know that there's a pyramid in Egypt? It's called the Temple of Maya. And they
Yes.
have Chichen Itza writing all over the ceiling.
Yes. Yes. There is. And that's
I
proof.
won't, I just, yeah. And Novis,
Mhm.
where does corn come from?
Corn like my co-host
Just
here.
corn in general.
Corn came from a plant, a smaller plant, smaller variation of it that was, I want to say, engineered to become the corn that is today. It was actually a lot more colorful and the European
Who is known
Americans.
to have it?
Originally, from what I know, the oldest kernels were found in a cave in Oaxaca, and they're still there to this day. And that's as
So
far as
how did that make it into the Bible?
Oh, really? What
How
part of the Bible?
Paraphrase about. I said it to Marvelous because I was asking questions about it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, our people were known to have corn and be bottomist and mess with it, and you're able to grow it in harsh environments.
Yes.
In good environments.
Superfood.
But they talk about it in the Bible, and they said one of the pharaohs was buried with corn kernels. And that's why I was just like, well, our people were the only people known to have it at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to simply say that the Bible that we all read in English, there's so many translations, right?
Mhm.
But none of them, nobody understands the original scriptures, the language, just like how in Spanish, right? In English,
yeah.
Aguas, when we say aguas, those little phrases, aguas, we watch out. But you say that shit in English, waters, right?
Yeah.
Or we say little phrases, right? How they transition.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to get at is that when we translate, even in Nahuatl, in English, and then to Spanish, it doesn't capture the essence of the meaning of the language.
Yeah.
So the Bible that we read, the Bible that people read today, it does not capture the original essence of the original.
Well, it's definitely been watered down throughout the decades.
Multiple
Sure.
fucking times.
Yeah.
And then I'm also aware that they took out books that should have been in the Bible, but they took them out because it didn't fit the narrative.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean, the Hebrews do the same thing with their religion.
So
So
yeah,
what I
but
take from all that is
what
description.
I'm but I want to say that I just
Okay.
want to say this. I just want to say that
Yeah.
just because it says some shit on the Bible, the
Yeah.
version that you know doesn't make it factual because it doesn't capture the essence of the
Oh yeah.
original language that it was written in.
Yeah.
So your shit is like a pretendo
Yeah. At
book
the
of
end,
the origin.
that's why I always say the Bible is really just a mashup of different stories from different cultures.
Yeah, and
It's
then
just,
Yeah.
and just because there's some similarities of describing things doesn't necessarily mean that it's what you think it might be.
yeah.
You know, yeah, there's might be like you said, Temple Maya. Who the fuck named the Temple Maya?
Forget about it.
Was it a white anthropologist?
I think for the most part, I
Because
would, I would, I would, yeah,
from what I know, they don't really comprehend original Egyptian language.
yeah,
There's only a very handful of people that decipher it, but the ones that they decipher does truly captures the essence of what the language
yeah,
originally is.
yeah.
And
Well, yeah, you're
yeah,
right.
and then there's always going to be uh, similarities in languages. The Polynesian people, there's a group I forgot. I don't know if it's a Samoan, or I don't know. You know,
Yeah,
they have a characteristic in their language called the glottal stop.
yeah,
That glottal stop exists in Nahuatl.
yeah,
Traditionally, there's a
yeah,
glottal stop in
yeah,
Nahuatl.
yeah,
So there's always going to be there's only so much ways the language our tongue can move as human beings.
yeah. Of
As
course.
there's only certain
Remember, I
like
told you
we
earlier
all
there is proof that Polynesian people have native blood. They the culture that came from here actually went there, and
supposedly they landed in Central America, like Honduras and all that
I
place,
think
in that region.
probably like
But
Peru, Chile.
who the fuck knows? But I just was trying to get at just because like these conspiracy theories and ideas, like to me, I just find it to be like I just don't accept it as truth right away, you
Oh,
know.
of course not. You can't.
And somewhere in like some Mandarin language in China, they say for them to say uh san in their language is shali.
Yeah,
And then in Nahuatl, we have the same fucking word that means san,
yeah,
shali.
yeah,
So now I just gave you two examples
yeah,
of two different nations from different regions,
yeah,
different kind of people, and we have similarities. Does
yeah,
not fucking mean that we are the same people.
yeah. Well, as far as language, you're correct on that, and that's why I always that's what I've been saying right now. Like for me, is more the description. Like for instance, when I describe the gods, the Egyptian gods, and how those animals are only found here on this side of the
Yeah, I
world
mean, there's fucking
and not
dragons
there.
there's dragons in Asia culture, dog. We have
Ah,
one
but Egyptians
like
don't. They don't have dragons. Well, it's not giant though.
and not only that, there's a moon goddess and somewhere in the Yucatec region. I don't know which
Yeah,
indigenous group.
yeah.
It's a lot like the same moon goddess of fucking somewhere in Asia. I
Oh
forgot her
yeah,
name.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But what
There's
I'm
so
saying
many
is that
there's so many
those
similarities though, bro. That it's
I
just
know,
it doesn't
I know.
because they exist doesn't mean they're the same.
That is true.
It's just like the Nahuatl language, right? Being a
Yeah,
part of the Ura Aztecan or whatever.
yeah,
Those other indigenous groups that are part of that family tree, their
yeah,
language is different from Nahuatl. Just
yeah,
because they're a part of it, a part of the Ura Aztecan, doesn't make their language Nahuatl. You get
yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
like our English. Our English here in the United States is different from the English from fucking England.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's
And
a whole nother different type of
so
English.
it's what I'm trying to get at is like,
Yeah,
yeah, you know, like we might have some similarities, but we are fucking different. And then just because these
in that
conspiracy
aspect,
theories
yeah,
is
yeah. I
to me
definitely agree with you.
to me is ridiculous though. But yeah,
For, for me, it's more like we built pyramids from all the way to the U.S.
there's
to
pyramids in
South
China.
America. Exactly. There's pyramids, in China. And then that's why I say we,
There's a pyramid in Cuba, a submerged fucking
yeah,
pyramid.
yeah. And we will,
Uh,
but the majority of them, the if you would say there's a place where it's saturated in pyramids, it would be here compared to
if
those places.
Yeah.
if anything, I want to say this. This is one of my beliefs.
Yeah.
My belief is something outside of our planet occurred I'm not talking about fucking aliens and all that bullshit.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about something galactic happened that possibly like a stardust or some shit got into
Yeah,
our atmosphere,
yeah,
got into our planet, and that that new shit that came into our planet started to make us think a little bit more, started to, you know, started to develop new shit, like
yeah,
new civilizations and stuff like that started to happen and occur. And when we build things as kids, even as kids, the first thing that kids do to build is
yeah,
stacking whatever, Legos, stacking, making clubhouses, however the fuck we make them. But
yeah,
we are stacking objects together. And what I'm trying to get at, that that's one of the first building methods that human people do all over the fucking world. That's why there's pyramids all over the world, because that was the first method to build. And just because we have that similarity doesn't mean that we have somehow fucking we're all connected or some bullshit. That just doesn't make no
I
fucking
don't.
sense to me.
Well, that's the part. I didn't say we're all connected. I said that we went out there. We
Yeah,
went there.
I
We
don't, I
we
don't,
went
I don't,
to
I don't.
those other
Norby,
places, and not
yeah, Norby, I don't
the
believe
other
in
way
that.
around.
Norby, I don't believe in that because there's no indigenous group in the Americas that had the capabilities to build large boats. Uh the Atlantic
Yeah,
Ocean, the
yeah,
Atlantic Ocean is a rough, rugged ocean in comparison to the Pacific.
yeah,
Now, it's more easier to sell in the Pacific, but the problem with the Pacific is that
yeah,
it's so fucking vast that you can get lost
yeah.
easily.
But do
So
you know?
there's these natural occurrences
Yeah.
that occur that just uh make it difficult for early travelers to just travel
Oh
so
yeah.
freely.
I mean, what you have to take into consideration, the Polynesians were well known for being able to navigate through the Pacific, which is
Yeah,
also a big ocean. They were
yeah.
able to map it out without having maps and sail from one land to
They
land.
have a map, and that's
But I
the
mean,
stars, Mike G.
well, okay, yeah, okay, that would be it. But they were capable of traveling from Polynesia to South
But
America.
and that was
Now
a
you got to
and that
remember, they had to have learned that from somewhere.
rafting is one of the earliest fucking things, right? But in those currents, if you're familiar with them
Yeah,
somehow, however the way they navigated, they obviously mastered it or whatever. But
yeah,
for the
that was
most part,
way back.
that knowledge is not
But that's why I
was
tell you,
not
my
part of
biggest
everybody.
beef with my ancestors is that they intentionally hid all of our historical artifacts. They just it didn't just disappear. They intentionally stored it somewhere, hid it, so nobody could find it. We don't even know where it's at, and we're them. That's why I would say that's my biggest beef with my ancestors. That they literally took all of our knowledge and stored it somewhere and say we're starting from scratch.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe they were like, we don't. Maybe they destroyed it themselves, bro. Those that type of knowledge, you know.
That's what I'm
Uh,
saying. That's why I always say that's my biggest beef with my ancestors. That I know they intentionally took it and did who knows what with it, but they made sure that we didn't.
I wouldn't be surprised that some of them are like buried under fucking churches in Mexico. And then I also wouldn't be surprised if the Vatican has tons of codices that they're just
Oh, I'm sure
stored
they
out
do.
there.
I'm sure they do.
So,
I'm sure they have those hidden away to
you
studying
know,
them. But this is why I tell you, for me, it's always odd that that one town in the middle in the mountains, up way up there in the mountains, where there's literally nothing for them. There's a Spanish colony just there waiting,
hmm
hundreds
who
of
know?
miles away from the capital,
Well,
just
who really
there
knows? You know?
for hundreds of years, just chilling up there, waiting for who knows what. Because I gotta imagine they must have found something in our pyramids that made them think like, okay, they're hiding something, and we gotta stay here until they fucking find it themselves and make
Yeah.
sure that we're there when it
So,
happens.
I have another question for you, brother.
Go for it, man.
So, like, have you ever seen like the Maya twins,
The Maya
the
twins,
statues?
the statues.
And
The
it's like
twin, the twin heroes.
No, I'm not that familiar with that. Sorry.
Yeah, that the twin hero comes from the Olmec. Olmec told that story first, and obviously the Maya adopted it. The twin hero
Yeah.
things. I would like to think that it's also implemented in Central Mexico with Tezcatlipoca and Quetzalcoatl. But yeah,
Can
but
you
yeah,
give us
that
a,
twins.
can you give us a
So,
little bit of backstory as far as the twins?
it looks well. The reason I was asking about those statues because, like, I know you said you don't believe that we traveled, but to me they look exactly like the Sphinx in Egypt.
Oh, oh, okay. I know what you're talking about now. Well, as far as the statue, it has that shape.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But that's that's
And
that's that's yeah.
the reason I brought up the pyramids because you're like, well, that's hard to say because there is little similarities in human civilizations. But the guy that was talking about it, he said that they actually got someone from South America to go over there and verify it. And he said, yeah, that was Chichen Itza writing all over the ceiling. So they clarified it that it was Chichen Itza.
And that's why I was
And
gonna
that's why
say.
I asked about like
Yeah.
any connection.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. That's probably one reason why they might have called it the Mayan, whatever. But because they're just relating it to them, that's probably like the
Yeah,
only reason why they called it that. Before that, they probably
and
called
they
it some
say
Egyptian stuff.
they said like the Mesoamerican temples and pyramids they predate the ones in Egypt.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I
It's
don't.
not. It's not. It's not a proven fact.
That you can't because you can't date rocks.
Because they say that one of them that I want to say maybe Peru. They said the way the diameter, the way everything's shaped, it's a spitting image of one in Egypt.
I wouldn't doubt it. Honestly, yeah, for me personally, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, if you ever go and see those rocks, they're fucking gigantic. How they shape
Yeah,
them, how they stack them, with however it is that they manage to put one on top of the other, is it's gonna always be a mystery to all of us because even advanced mathematicians, advanced people that are in math or geometry, they can't even figure out the motherfucker.
yeah. And that's my thing. Like, no one ever wants to give our people credit. It had to be aliens. It had to be somebody.
Nah, and
Like,
then
if you look at our people's bloodlines, they're most of the hardest workers
yeah.
you'll ever meet. You know what I'm saying?
But that's why I say, look, that's why I say, even though my biggest beef is with my ancestors hiding our historical like records, I gotta accept that they knew what they were doing. They meant to do it because maybe they saw what this world was going to become, and they knew that their people will survive it, their people will overcome it, and their people will eventually rise to be the great nations that they once were. And that's why they
Yeah,
did it.
and not just that,
They
but
had faith in us. They
they
had faith in us.
they started burning codex, and this library supposedly just caught fire out of nowhere, and all our information just disappeared. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So at the same time, it's good that your tribe did that because maybe you might find it. Who knows if you'll ever find it? But hopefully you do.
Yeah.
But you did bring up something on your live I wanted to ask you about.
Yeah.
And it caught my eye. It was a live you did a while back,
Okay.
and you were talking about the land bridge.
Oh,
But
yeah.
you were saying that they've actually found proof that we were here before the Ice Age.
Oh, yes. Yes. A university did research on the DNA of my tribe, and according to their research, it predates the Ice Age. meaning
Yeah,
my tribe specifically has been on this land more than 20,000 years. If
that's
anything, the
crazy.
research would say that my tribe would be one of the oldest, if not the oldest tribe that's from this land, according to their research.
There's also
And
Yeah,
I think there's also footprints in like New Mexico that that shows human footprints with
yeah,
around like animals that don't no longer exist.
yeah,
That it was a lot older than the ice bridge.
yeah. And
I don't.
that's the thing, because it's funny in that research itself, because for them, the only reason they could think that we cross here is through the land bridge, because otherwise you would have to be advanced enough to sail from Asia all the way to this side of the world. So
yeah,
oddly enough, in that same research, they actually give credit that they somehow managed to sail. My tribe was able to sail from Asia all the way to this land, which even they know
yeah,
it's an extreme stretch to actually consider that, but
yeah,
because they have now they have evidence that we were here before the ice age. That's all they have left. That's all they have left to
yeah,
say that we're not really from here, even though they know that's a super stretch to say that an entire colony just, somehow managed to go through the sea, through the Pacific, and get all the way here.
yeah.
But basically, they're saying, you know what?
Because
These people have been here since the get go.
yeah, because what trips me out is they make it seem like it was a people of 100 people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it was like really, no, honestly, it was like a whole civilization.
No, and you know what? In
So
that same research, it actually says that my tribe specifically went through a dramatic drop in population somewhere around the ice age. Something happened
yeah,
around that time where the population of my tribe completely dropped to like a very small population, which is the one that
yeah.
resides in Oaxaca. But in their research, it
So
says that something happened.
Hey, Norm, someone
you
be
guys
taking
mentioned
off here, all right, bro?
Huh?
Ya me voy a largar, güey.
Oh shit! It's already past your bedtime. My bad, man.
That shit been past my bedtime, fool.
I know, right? Hey, Colin, you know what, man? Hey, we're gonna cut it right here. We'll come back another time, okay, man?
thank you guys. You guys got to do a part 2, bro.
Yes, sir. All right, man.
I
We'll
don't
talk
even
to you
like
later.
Norby's. He's a little ban.
We'll talk later, man. Bye.
Thank-
Oh man, they left first. But hey man, yeah, you're right, man. I was gonna say that too earlier. Like, you know what? It's kind of past my bedtime too, man. You really kept me up, man.
I thought you kept me a foot. The fuck? I
Hey
was
man,
like,
but
Pichi Norby's puro weedy, 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 weedy.
I
Nah,
know, right? That's how it goes, man. But
it's
aside
just,
from that, yeah, go ahead.
it's just, I think there's definitely a lot of people that were interested in some of the stuff, some of the things that we've said. Obviously, others did not really take a liking to it, but
Yeah,
it's all right.
yeah,
Uh, I definitely say a lot of shit, real bold, very straightforward. I'm not sugarcoating things, and I'd rather be told like facts instead than to be told lies.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
lies doesn't allow you to heal. Truth
No,
does.
yeah,
So I want my people of Mexico, Latin America, to you know strengthen themselves.
definitely.
So
Damn, bro, we went 3.5 hours.
es que hablas un chingo, güey. No
I
mames, güey.
know. That's what I do. Anyway, we'll be
Yeah,
back.
hey,
We'll be
hey,
back, right, for another 3.5 hours some other day.
some other day. I don't know if I'll be able to last so long, but yeah, we'll see. But hey, I wouldn't doubt that fucking Marvelous tuned in a little bit.
Yeah, he was in there. I saw him in the chat. So shout out to Marley. Shout out to everybody that stayed with us in this 3.5 hours of me and him talking all night long.
Or
I mean,
random
it's a Thursday
shit.
night, random shit.
None of this shit was
No, plan.
thought out. It was just on the passion, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what
Uh,
made it that much better, I think. Had
yeah,
we planned it out, it would
like
have been weird.
like you know. I just want you guys to know out there, that I try to do my best to bring the truth say things that people are afraid to say for whatever reason. Me, I'm not really so much afraid of saying things because I mean, life has always been tough, and I know that it has been tough for a lot of y'all. Being Mexican American,
Yeah,
and it's just la vida es un it's a nutty ritmo. You know what I mean? It's just
yeah,
it's a nutty way, but
definitely.
we gotta definitely try to make the best of it
Hells yeah,
and have a way that we can and hope for the best.
definitely. So 94 MS said he dropped 199. He said, "What is the name of the Oaxaca pueblo you're from?" Um, oddly enough, the name is the name for that place is called Islan.
Islan, that should definitely got named by fucking Nahuatl speaking people. Surprisingly, in the northern part of Oaxaca, there is a Nahuatl community.
No,
Just so you got,
I don't. That's
so
why
you
I
know
tell you,
that.
it's weird. There's too many coincidences. How and that, and for the Mexica, I think what was it about Aslan? What was that meaning for Aslan for them?
Aslan was their village, dog. Like
Villager.
I don't. This is kind of difficult to say. People might think like, oh, when you think like pyramids out here in the United States, there might be some shit that is similar, but I don't think they compare to the pyramids that were found in Mesoamerica. And I would like to think that Aslan is a thought. Like a philosophy that was just lost. I don't think necessarily it's an authentic place. I think it's a state of mind or some shit, you
It's
know.
a trip, bro, because
But it's difficult to say. It's
for
difficult to
me,
say.
because for me, from the Mexica, Mitla is where you go for death, right? For when you die, that's the underworld in a sense.
Mictlan?
Yeah,
Nah. Yeah, but
right.
it's don't compare it to like the ideas of fucking demons and like
No, 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 no. Like
fiery and all.
that's where you go after you succeeded in your
Nah, there's
tribulations
you.
as far as
Yeah,
your
there's
journey to get there.
I think there's like 13 sky worlds,
Yeah.
and then there's like 9 Mictlan areas, and
Interesting.
then
That's crazy because one of our
and then
places is called Mitla.
so based on how you die is where you start your
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think I would rather go to Mictlan because if you go through the rough story, like the rough journey that it's ahead of going through that world,
Yeah.
uh, the go- what you get out of it, from my understanding, is that your soul is rested so much. Like you are no longer in existence. You're never coming back. You
Yeah.
won't be reincarnated. Like you're sit. That's you're done. Like completely.
That's if you don't make the journey, right? If you don't,
That's if you
somehow-
make it.
oh, that's if you make it.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's if you make
okay.
it. You no longer exist like at all. You won't be able to reincarnate. But if you go
Again,
to the sky world
yeah.
and you go through that journey, uh, you come back as a hummingbird.
But that trips me out because the meaning of our
Yeah, que
name.
tanto, güey. I gotta
Oh
go, dog.
yeah,
You
yeah.
fucking
My bad.
God
All right,
dang.
bring it. All right, well, neighbor, I hope that answered your
We're
question.
gonna
All
be
right,
at
guys.
another. We're
Well,
gonna be
we'll
here for
come
another
back
3 hours and
again.
shit.
We'll talk more. Thank you, everybody that came through. I appreciate all you guys, everybody from both of our channels. Stay tuned for when we come again. Thank you. Do you want to give any shout outs to anybody?
Fuck no, I don't like nobody.
Shut up.
Nah, just shout out to all those people that been following me out there for a very long time. Back in those Iron Jacket times, and just stuck throughout with me. Watch my journey, watch my growth. Uh, you know, yeah, I want to give a shout out to Tlihuitzilin, Ahuitzilin, Asinacantli, Itztlemitl, Techalotl, Iswatl. These are a lot of my students. I just want to say thank you guys, for keeping this old Mexican or oldish Mexican
Yeah.
uh motivated. And yeah, I want to thank oh yeah, Jean, she's a nice white lady that I talked to. She's hella dope. So I want to give a shout out to her and her family. Just people that fuck with me. You know what I mean? The people that show love and
Yeah,
support.
definitely.
You know, try to stay positive and yeah, try to be educational, informative, and stuff like that. It's cool. It's good.
There you go. All right, guys. We'll see you in the
And
next one. Oh.
I don't. I also want to say that I don't like Norby's. He's a, he's a he's a pan
Hey.
one of those pan dulces. Nah, just kidding.
Wait. Ban is technically a word that came from now, all right?
Nah, I don't think it. I don't think so.
I heard something about
'Cause
that, but we'll get
no,
into that the next time. We'll do research on that one because I heard
yeast didn't work. Yeast didn't exist in the Americas. That shit was brought over.
no. I meant that they use that word for something else,
Oh, I
but
mean,
they
pan
incorporated.
is a suffix
Yeah, they
in Nahuatl.
incorporated.
In
Yeah,
Nahuatl, but it doesn't have to do with anything with bread.
no. The Spanish just used it to like refer to something. Refer
That's one of the other
like
common.
fuck with the word. Fuck
That's
with the
another.
word, pretty much.
That's another similarities right there, bro, with the languages. You know.
No. They actually there's record that they actually use a longer version of what was ban. It actually it was ban something, and they shortened it so they could name their bread. Some shit like that. I
Yeah,
gotta go back and look it up. But
I'm
yeah,
not familiar with it, but yeah, pan is a suffix in Nahuatl, but it's used to like say like the time of, you know,
yeah.
so it's just a suffix on that, but it doesn't reference bread. Fool, it's
No,
something else.
no. What I'm saying that the Spanish use that word as to fuck it up because I apparently there is a tradition that has that word in there
Yeah,
that they
I'm unfamiliar. Maybe I look into it, fool, but
yeah,
no,
because
we
it's a
could
pretty
talk
cool
about it.
story. They fucked up the word, and that actually meant something really good, and then now it's pan. All right,
Pan.
all right then.
Uh,
All right, man. So I'll talk to you again soon. Well, I'll hit you up tomorrow or something. We'll talk more.
yeah. All right, bro.
All right,
Yes,
guys. Thank
how the
you,
fuck do I
everybody.
leave, dog? Do I just fucking
No,
leave a
I'm gonna
studio?
kick you out. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
All right.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining me tonight. I appreciate all of you guys. Much love to everybody. And thank you for staying with us for these 3.5 hours or 3 hours and 40 minutes. I didn't know it was going to go this long, but appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. I'm probably going to try to do a run the fate tomorrow. So stay tuned for that or, just check up on me. Aside from that, thank you. Much love to all of you and much blessings to you and your family. Good night.